Accusing me of doodling?
Y'all want to turn your monitors on?
Somebody's been.
Thanks for Bert.
Oh.
Gina?
I'll doodle on this one too. Lisa, you did not have to do those.
All right, microphones on, y'all. All right, welcome everyone to the February 9th, 2026 City Council Work Session. First order of business is going to be executive session, and pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, Sections 551071 and 551074, consultation with attorney, child care tax exemption, and deliberation regarding personnel matters, interim city secretary appointment, executive session may be held under these exceptions at any time during the meeting that a need arises for the city council to seek advice from the city attorney as to the posted subject matter of this city council meeting. Need a motion to go into executive session.
Mayor, I move we go into executive session.
Need a
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 6:02. Yeah, it might be a while, right?
Yeah, you just want to let them. Hey, Derek, how you doing?
I said Curtis got too fast.
Come on, move it over. Here. Here it goes. Rudy.
Good for you.
There we go. Thanks. Thanks.
GW is the one that'll eat all of them.
You ask her a question, and she's gonna give you a different answer. She's really calmed down here in the last 2 or 3 months. She, up until probably October, she was holding it together. We grew up. CDs, but I don't know, a lot of people are in, looking at investment firms, and they're making 8%. And I was in,
They're taking a
pulling that.
chance with that too.
Yeah, mine's 20% safe.
You're safe there, you're not taking risk in it.
Yeah, I also have about 500 shares, or a little over 500 shares of Apple stock.
Whoa. That's some big money right there.
That was back to my trading days, and that's one I never got rid of. And then I had a horse race, and I saw one that I liked. It was $6 a share. So I bought 1,000 shares of it. It's been worth about $13 a share.
That's good money.
That one worked out.
Pretty good money.
So I'm hanging on to that one because it's only 2 stocks I've got.
So. Well, other than horses, that's the dog stock we have right now. I don't like what it just you said, it's in CD. You're probably fine right now.
I've got a good deal for 4.25 to 5, I think. And they're stair stepped out for 5 years.
If I was, you can come up with 10,000 new money to go back in your transfer over. So put as much as we have, we can have the money to go with. I'm proud of us, cause we're still saving about $2,000 a month.
I could be, but I decided that I ain't saving it.
My son is venturing, he wants to go. Yeah, you don't need to be saving no more.
Well, I was pretty much still saving, and then this deal happened. And I said, I could probably handle it. And not do anything with my savings.
That's right.
And I said, but you know something? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna scrimp and save, because I've been looking at this nursing home stuff for a couple of years while I was training.
That's something I should have already been looking at, the long-term care,
Well, it's a little late now.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I sat down and had a talk with myself, and I said, you know something? All I'm gonna do is retire and do it. So I started taking the money out of savings.
That's,
We paid for this.
that's what he keeps telling me, that you know, like 2 years you got.
It's different.
Looks like quit and saving yourself. What are you gonna do?
Oh, I printed that from, I printed
If I
one.
get that from you guys.
Well, that's what I find
Dad,
figured
I
out.
don't need anything that you've got.
And my son keeps telling me that.
And he's probably right, he's a CEO of a company.
So you can call online and talk to
Of
them,
course I know.
but it says to request an application. You cannot
He's not
send
perfect.
it makes no sense.
Well, I'm here.
But the
Well,
other
I'm gonna
stuff,
start spending this money. I
Yeah,
ain't
that
spent very
doesn't
much
come
yet.
off. I'm looking
Well,
at
if you
what I
wanna,
printed.
if you wanna try
you
another,
gotta take care of what you gotta take
consider
care of.
Carter and all that, that's fine.
Well,
Okay.
I put her in there January the 9th, so she's gonna go in.
I'm not doing all
Yeah.
this today.
You know, I mean, you don't have to.
Bought some home bios, starting with some Home Smart.
Yeah.
Walk her there now and tell her to throw
What's
on
that,
that.
Sarah said? You good?
Probably should carry that in. And I'm gonna make more of it smart.
But what's that
I'm
cold
gonna have the
side?
TV put up on the wall.
It's,
Come in there and read the electrical.
That's what we wanna do too, but I think the water starts up.
Which ain't that,
We're gonna have to move up.
yeah, you don't want a cord hanging.
yeah,
We just had,
Yeah.
we had $10,000 water done at our house. All of the wiring was over half. So we had some new plugs put in, new washers, breaker boxes. This house didn't have CIM, but it
Yeah.
went that
couldn't find it.
Got a little bit more to do first pass on, and then it's gonna be going back through the, we had hardly, floor to ceiling from her stuff.
And that could be a lot.
Got 2 shelves completely full, and I'm talking 15-foot shelves of rocks and beads.
That she painted,
Huh?
that she painted up.
No, she hadn't made jewelry out of it.
That's the product she was using. Wow.
Well, it's just, it was overwhelming, it's still a little bit.
Wow.
I've been at it for that much, almost 8-10 hours a day, just going through this stuff.
I've got power tools up there in the garage, it's still in the closet, it's been there so long, but that, I mean, that's stupid.
Yeah, but we had to. Well, we used to make necklaces out of arrowheads, and
Where'd you get your idea?
we found different, one time we ran into an Indian that was showing a freight line. They had a big bowl, and we got tons of them. And there were wholesalers that wholesale them and all that. And so,
Well, they didn't make good jewelry out of it, like you were, wow.
I said, I asked my dad, I said, we buy in America. I said, what is it? Do we know anyone? No, we're out.
They're so crazy.
I don't know, I knew what an Indian was, we just.
So,
Anyway, like when you're going
so
through.
dude,
I
I
got two
was
boxes.
telling Kim the other day, just,
Yeah.
like anything
There's
recently.
some stones that have.
I think it's been a week.
Okay, so here's why I was trying to do STW.
Um,
Just default to all, I didn't realize where it was going.
yeah.
And, I stayed with it. Yeah.
We were
I
off to
stayed,
do
I
some.
stayed with it until I got
Our
tired.
stuff was still there.
Ours is get stuck on PD.
Yeah, all the dangerous stuff. Some of those big wire
Started
cables,
thinking,
I can't
okay,
understand
somebody
how
in the
they
city
run.
could need that.
It was the library.
Anyway, we had these little earrings, we paid $2 a pair.
Cause I know there was something, it was when you first
Like
did it,
the
there was something
earrings,
came to the library and it was over.
earpiece store,
Well,
and we'd sell them for
I think
20.
it's for peanuts. So I just took it to her.
Oh.
We got any more of those? No, we don't. I lost it.
So I will tell you, I really think it'll work that you go to
that's too much stuff when you came back with your, that's what I said, you got it, you
Yeah,
came back.
And we
Cheese
didn't
head
get
was
any, we got a lot of
interesting
stuff for
too.
a while. I mean, we didn't get anything for a while, and
I
then the
found
house
some
was
of it over
getting
here and some over there.
like, okay, I'll just stop.
You know,
I think
you
it
just
was
find
the
lots with it,
STW,
but
because
it's
it's trying to bring the budget.
well,
Yes, it was the
Okay.
budget.
And that's when it dawned on
It's
me.
funny how the mind will play tricks
So
on you when you,
I came up here to
make you
Brad.
think you're okay, but you're not.
Because it doesn't, when you do STW,
6, 8
it
months,
doesn't show you.
maybe a year, she's got the hallucination.
Yeah.
She,
Did you see my email?
time I put her in there.
I did,
Dogs
so
and stuff.
Renee's coming up here.
Well, $20 in my house.
So, because I can't get, she sent me some contacts and the lady's voicemail
That pound it.
still sounds like it was her. I mean, she could be on vacation. Yeah. But I had sent an email both to her and there was another email.
Well, you want everybody to
And
pay
I
attention.
can't get anyone to respond, so I will see if we can't get you another meeting.
I'll tell you a story about your opponent. You can kind of gauge where I'm at.
Yeah, that's changed.
recruit people and all that. So, got that man always doing something when she comes. And there, society, no, the historical society.
Okay.
Yeah. So I met her daughter through that. She seemed pretty cool. And I said, I approached her, I said, hey, you want to become admin in this paper? Yeah, I'd love to. And I said, okay, so I made up some rules and regulations and stuff. I'll send it to you and I need you to review it. Everything, and see if you, anything to add or take away or whatever, and get it published. What about research? Let's get him. And I said, did you ever go over that stuff? No, but I'm gonna do it tonight. Okay. So another research thing. Screw this, so I asked Rich. Well, she talks so fast.
I'm trying to create this community for some of these things. Is that one out there next to,
Committee for the
in that hallway?
planning and zoning.
Yeah.
Oh, the
I
hallways.
put her on that, she came to a specimen. She
City
couldn't care.
manager, development services, the one right out here.
Picked on her and
Development services.
all that, and I went, ooh, shit. So anyway, long story short, I ended up making Mary Wood the admin.
There you go.
Her and I have been running into different,
You got a good one on that.
just
Oh, community development.
Yeah, Audrey's on it. She's been good on that.
Yes, I believe.
What does it take to join it?
You gotta agree to 3 rules,
No, no athletics.
yeah, well, I was last year, but it's,
Not conflict of development.
gonna be positive and, you live in Richmond Hills or have a business in Richmond Hills, simple rules. If we have somebody that comes in there and tries to put air duct cleaning or something in there, they're out. Send you to the city.
Because she lives in Fort Worth.
Somebody wants to advertise their business, where's he live? Tyler. Okay. And we don't check that close, if it's legitimate for them staying. What you doing, man? Pretty good. We're over here in the senior section. Marlene, when I started that page, she kicked me off of hers. She said she couldn't allow me to have the rules and shit.
Where at? What?
Yeah.
Hers is the St. Bridget Episcopal and it's right, think of where Bearded Lady is. Oh, where we went for dinner at Timmy's,
Okay.
it's right there. It's like 2 buildings down from
Yeah.
Timmy's.
She,
Well, they do a sausage pit.
I was doing something,
Yeah.
selling something, and
Yeah, well, so we're in Virginia, we're on the
anyway, I
west
was doing
side.
something.
And, yeah, they're already serving and the kids ministry at our church.
Well, I think it's your kids really, but.
And all their friends are gonna live
Over there.
over there too,
Oh, and I
so.
applied.
Do you don't have a youth group or anything?
And she came back and said, I can't do this. And I said, why is that? She says, I can't let him go and has to put another page,
Kindergarten and second grader.
get on my page.
That's the bus stop because she had the community page. She was on there.
So anyway, well, she does what she wants to do.
1.5.
So anyway, she,
That's what I'm saying.
That's real little.
Yeah. Wonder if we put, you know,
She,
a delete.
I said, well, you can go to my page if you want.
That's true.
Like,
She said, well.
majority of them home from time, but help with the kids.
Whatever.
And they might,
And they're all young.
they are young,
I
they
was
might
posting
live in
something
Fort
for
Worth
charity,
and
so,
could go and come on Sunday.
Yeah.
Two faces on
Meetings
the
are
front.
yeah.
Remote.
remote.
Yeah. Yeah, Lisa's got a time.
Oh, Anyway, you're a phone guy.
Even though, yeah, there's tons of campuses right now, remote, and everybody's going these days.
Yeah, and,
The kids that go, that live on campus are, a lot of them are remote classes.
Yeah.
Sandy really against Katina, right? Like, that was a
But three whole days put in
Kind of
two,
weird, I mean, like I said,
two
they're all
still,
become,
so.
I seen
most of them are all part-time,
Katina, I've had
so
some bad
some of them might be
experiences.
available on
Yeah,
campus.
me too.
It would be, I don't know if they do our snow days, but I would think they would be, I mean,
That's what I'm trying to
I
figure
don't think
out.
at school or if they're in college or.
When Joyce was having her first Christmas party, or whatever it was, I participated in it, and I also was for the company, bought an ad, and it was one night. Next thing I know, I get emails from Katina. I didn't even know she was.
Blasting you.
Yeah, saying she can't, you can't believe that Howard put me down here. Give me a person demonstration in Washington against Trump and all this other stuff. Of course, I know this is little boy in Washington, January sixth. And so I already knew the story. I wrote Katie to put me up so she could participate in the January sixth riot against Washington and all this other stuff.
That's not the way you do it.
Especially.
I think she's spreading that type of stuff and running for city council. But then again, you got the other side of the coin too.
I don't know who's got them. I don't know. You're right.
The only thing I really kind of don't get with him is the stances that they want.
Yeah.
There's really nothing with it.
He's in on. He just wanna do the sheriff thing, doesn't he?
No, I think he's pretty well for it. Then you got Roman coming
All
in.
those sheriffs done cut ambulance person.
Mm-hmm.
All those sheriffs done cut the ambulances.
Okay, got the big ones. I don't think we can afford it.
I'm not for sure we can. But we can't do Montana. Somebody was talking to Mike Logan a minute ago.
Mike Logan. Oh, Lord. He knew lessons. I was in,
Well,
I was a junior fireman, he was paid me.
how'd he treat you? Not good? Okay.
Well, I was 18 years young, and he was probably a few years older than me. He got everybody pretty much pissed off.
Well, that, now that he did, I'll hand you that,
And continued to his career though. So.
he's pretty self, what do you call it, stance on things, you know?
Mhm. GW and Rowan took me down to McDonald's one day, breakfast.
actually meet Steve. And she's gonna, yeah. Yeah, and that's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's not.
A year later, someone wrote,
Sorry to interrupt. I was just asked, do you have that first responder organization signed document for Fort Worth EMS?
Lisa has it to get her signature.
Perfect. I just, they're,
Asking
know they
for
were
it.
antsy about
you
it.
know, everybody got delayed. It's just like Tarrant County hazard mitigation plan.
Yeah.
They're trying to get all that stuff, so.
Lisa has a folder for her signature.
Perfect. I didn't know if you had it or not, so I was just gonna.
Yes, yeah, no worries. I think Fort's been a little, I worked with Chief Jacobs to get some language put in that he wanted. I think they've been a little upset about the back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
Not upset, but just like anxious.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
They didn't eat you alive?
I'm still here.
Were they nice?
Oh, yes.
what we're doing on this first year, turned into a couple. Yep. Hang in there.
I didn't realize that Marlene had sent you off of her page.
Oh, yeah.
Any idea why?
She told me that since I owned the page, that I couldn't be on her page.
Because you own a page, you couldn't be on hers?
Yeah, you know, I started the old 2.0.
Yeah.
Okay, it's hot in here.
Kicked me off of it a little bit. And I had something I need to change something, and somebody told me reach out and say, hey, anybody got a recommendation? I found out I was still.
And it also says it's 4 o'clock. Is that on the?
Also, don't forget to print one of these out for me because you copy my assistant on the emails and she makes me a whole binder. So if it saves you having to do an extra one, it's just 146 pages.
Brett was a little excited, I don't remember what he was saying. Your finger's not on your list as one of the rules, and you can't walk in there. It's so difficult.
Things haven't thinned out a lot. Ooh.
What is this?
Mike's hot.
Very Merry Christmas.
From the doggy. From Lady.
Oh, there you have it. Why did anybody else get this?
Yeah,
Yep.
Thank you, man. Ooh,
we all got this.
that's a huge community interest item list there.
I like it.
I might not go horse on this one.
All right, so we have,
So, we're gonna
all right, we're reconvened into work session. We can, what should we do here? You want to have microphones on, y'all?
hot.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to do
Do we have some,
departments,
yeah, do we have 15 minutes department
or
reports?
do we have anything?
We can do,
Let's see, let's do investment.
the first quarter investment.
Yeah, let's do
You would
that.
like.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sean, if you'd like to come up and do the first quarter investment report, please?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the review of the investment report for the first quarter of fiscal '26. You should have, in your packets, received both the first quarter as well as the fourth quarter report from the end of fiscal '25. The funds that we have on deposit at Chase for the quarter declined $4.3 million. The weighted average of the interest that we received on those funds was a 64 basis point decline. The funds that we had on, or under investment with the various pools increased $3.5 million in ending balance. And the interest that we received on those had a decline of 23.7 basis points. So the overall combined weighted average was down 43.4 basis points. Combined resulted in a decrease of about $26,500 in interest revenue. The combined decrease in those ending balances was only $750,000. The shift in the two was, as I had mentioned in a previous presentation, I'm pretty aggressive with trying to utilize the pools as we got the new pools implemented. It's been a bit of a slow go to move those funds, but I've slowly been doing it over time. So of the $26,500 decrease in interest revenue, the decrease in the funds that we have invested with Chase account for 26,000 of it. And even with a 23.7 basis point decrease in the pools, because I shifted towards some of those newer, higher weighted pools, late in the cycle. That decrease ended up only actually being $500 of the 26.5. So one of the things I just kind of wanted to point out, it's hard to tell exactly what our balances are going to be, but just looking at historical balances and what has been done in the past, if you take the weighted average of what we have at Chase from the beginning of the quarter to the end of the quarter, that's about $15.5 million. Obviously, we want to keep adequate funds, on hand for working capital needs. So I took that $15.5 million and said if we could put 60% of that in the pools. Obviously, we can get that money out of the pools at any time. But if we took 60% of that, that would be just over $9.25 million. The difference between Chase and the pools at the end of quarter one was on average 2.11%. At the end of quarter four, it was 1.7%. Of course, we didn't have the higher yield pool at that time. So again, I split the difference between those and came to a weighting of 1.905%. And if you multiplied that by the little over $9.25 million, it is $176,646 a year. So over the past 3 years, if all of those numbers flush out, which I did not get a chance to do a full-blown analysis, but if they did flush out to about those numbers, it's about $530,000 in interest revenue that by not optimizing the use of the pools, we have foregone in interest. So going forward, my recommendation would be to encourage whoever follows me in this to optimize their use of those pools as much as possible, especially with some of the other challenges that we're faced with, other declining revenues. That is one way that we can work to kind of alleviate some of those declines.
Don't have any questions?
Questions as
Good
far as the
now.
report or?
Good, good enough. Thanks for that
On
detail,
the,
Sean.
on the JP Morgan Chase, there's 192,000. Did that mature? Did it move into the general fund? Where did it go?
I moved it to the general fund and then ultimately made that part of what I moved to the pools.
Into the
in
pool,
addition to,
so-
yeah.
It bounced through the general fund into the pools, okay.
Yeah, to optimize. The interest rate last year was about 3.8%. It was going to be like 2.8% this year, and with the pools still in excess of 4%, I felt that was the best use of moving those funds into the pool. So that's where those funds got moved to.
I'd been holding off trying to talk to you about that, attended the training in Austin on this, and their recommendations are really lining up with what where you've moved the city, so appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, it's not where I moved us yet, but that's where I was
Where
headed.
you're heading.
That's where I was headed, so.
All right. Thank you, Sean, and good luck to you
Thank
in
you.
your future endeavors.
Appreciate it.
All right, we got 6 minutes. We'll just take a little recess for everybody.
We can talk about that later. So.
All right, welcome everyone to the regular city council meeting for Richland Hills, February 9th, 2026. Our first order of business will be the invocation and pledges of allegiance, and I've asked our interim city manager to give us the prayer. Please. Y'all please rise.
If you will bow with me, please. Heavenly Father, we come before you today in thanks for this beautiful day and many blessings you have bestowed upon us. We ask that you grant our city's leaders wisdom and discernment, help them to make decisions that are just and beneficial for all of our residents. Guide their hearts and minds to seek the common good. We ask for your hand of protection over our city employees, especially our first responders as they go about protecting our community. We ask all these things in your Son's holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Could you join us in the pledge? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, very good. Thank you all. Thanks for joining us tonight. First item will be recognition of Richland Hills Fire Department paramedic Lene Ashley Nolan for achieving the critical care paramedic credentialing.
Chief Rose?
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So it is my pleasure tonight to recognize Lene for her accomplishments, and I have asked Michael Ferris to come up here with us tonight to do that presentation. He is the First Responder Organization Clinical Practice Coordinator under the Office of the Medical Director, and I'd like to have him give that presentation. Before I do that, Lene, would you like to introduce your family?
This is my husband Noel and my son Carson.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome. Right.
Welcome, welcome.
Michael, would you like to come up here, please, sir? And Michael's been a great partner with us, working with him with our new hires, and he's just been a great partner to have, and we really appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I will start off, this is a little bit organized. My wife says I can ramble sometimes, so I just wrote this out for you guys. But as Chief Rhodes said, I'm Michael Ferris. I'm with the Office of the Medical Director in Fort Worth. I've been a firefighter paramedic for several years in many different roles. So this is really special to me, as well as the department, to see this tonight. So tonight, the recognition is for Lene Ashley Nolan. So what she's achieved is not just something that was important to her, but for the citizens and the people that she serves. That's what made that important to her as she went through her process. So the role of a critical care paramedic is not anything that is new, and it's existed in what was the MedStar system for many years, but it wasn't something that was offered out to the first responder organization or anything that we'd ever had interest in doing. So Lene is one of the first people to ever express an interest in that. So going through this process, it's a very lengthy process. It's not just a single class. It's not a course that you have to take, a certification. It all leads through certain things. It includes an advanced critical care course, a national recognized critical care paramedic certification through the International Board of Specialty Certifications. It all ends with a formal critical care orientation and then a field training program and finishing with a medical director interview, much like, say, a physician's oral report. Lene did not just do this for her certification title or for personal recognition. I don't think that she ever expressed that she wanted any of that through this, just to be able to actually go out and provide better care for the citizens. But she she did want to do better, and she did come and does deliver a higher level of care to the citizens through her achievements in this. Before she started the process, even as the city and the department began transitioning into the Fort Worth Regional EMS system, she very quickly became a partner of ours to help in that transition, to go out and educate not just help with training and education of this department, but neighboring cities and departments. So we were taking on something that we didn't really understand how big it was going to be. So she was a very valuable partner in that for us and for your city. None of this was something that was required. It was nothing that was asked. This was all personally driven from her and supported from this department. So I think that's very important to understand as well. So I want to recognize the support that she had behind her with Chief Rhodes in previous administration as well throughout this process. I don't think that this is where this stops. This is just something that she started with and has actually shown some of the other cities that there is a path to doing better for their citizens. And we've had much more interest just through the successful process that Lene has done. So on behalf of the Office of the Medical Director, I just want to publicly announce how proud we are, how grateful we are for her to our office, but also knowing that I live and I drive through this city very frequently, and knowing that we have this out there responding when we're here, as well as the excellence, professionalism, and just her constant strive to be better for herself and for the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can we get a picture, please?
Chief Rhodes?
With you all?
Can we
Chief?
get a picture with
Yes, ma'am.
him and
Yes.
Lene?
Michael?
We'll do a couple. Congratulations.
Renee, good job.
Thank you, bye-bye. All right, next item is Library TM LDA 2025 Achievement of Excellence. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and read this. The Richland Hills Public Library has received the 2025 Achievement of Library Excellence Award from the Texas Municipal Library Directors Association, otherwise known as TMLDA, an affiliate of the Texas Municipal League. To successfully receive the Achievement of Library Excellence Award, the library must exhibit excellence in providing services to underserved and special populations, marketing in innovative ways, pursuing collaborative efforts, offering enhanced services through a unique or expanded programming, providing literacy support, providing for digital inclusion, support workforce development, promoting cultural, topical, and educational programming, comprehensively training staff, and offering other unique services to their community. Of the 516 public libraries in Texas, only 101 received this award in 2025, demonstrating our library's commitment to providing exceptional service to our community. With this honor, the Richland Hills Public Library is now in the top 20% of public libraries in the state, and that's quite an achievement. Congratulations, Chantel. That's
Yes.
we don't have any copies or anything.
Well done.
Gonna run out of space on here if you keep giving these awards.
Well, if we run out of wall space, so let's solve that problem.
Yeah, it's-
Thank you for that.
All right, next item, citizen appearances, public comments. Is there anybody that wants to speak now? If they do, then I need to read some words. Seeing none, we'll move on. Next item will be the consent agenda. All items listed below are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of the items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence. Approval of the consent agenda authorizes the city manager to implement each item in accordance with staff recommendations. We are not required by law to have to read every item. It's on the consent agenda, so I'll ask if anybody wants to make a motion to.
I'll make a motion we approve.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion, any opposed? No. Motion carries. All right, next item is consider resolution 629-26 calling the May 2nd, 2026 general election for council member place 3 and place 5.
Mayor, I move for approval. Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item, consider resolution 630-26 ordering a special election to submit a proposition on the reauthorization of the local sales tax and use tax at the rate of 0.3% to continue providing revenue for the maintenance and repair of city streets on May 2nd, 2026. Let me find that item, because
Okay. Yes, Mayor. So this would be considering Resolution 630-26, ordering the special election to submit a proposition on the reauthorization of the local sales and use tax at the rate of 0.3% to continue providing a revenue for the maintenance and repair of our city streets. In November 2018, the Richland Hills voters approved a proposition allocating a half-cent total of sales tax to street maintenance, 0.3% and Type B economic development from the rate of 1/8 to 2/8%. The new tax collection began in April of 2019 following the final financial obligations to the Fort Worth Transportation Authority in March of 2019. The street maintenance sales tax was reapproved by voters in May of 2022. The street maintenance portion of this tax is dedicated strictly to repairing and maintaining, including reconstructing existing street and sidewalks. Chapter 327 of the Texas Tax Code requires this portion of the local sales and use tax expires on the 4th anniversary of the date of the beginning of the tax collection. The street maintenance proposition of the tax will expire in April 2027 if not reauthorized. The proposition on the ballot is as follows. The reauthorization of the local sales and use tax in the city of Richland Hills, Texas at the rate of 0.3% to continue providing revenue for maintenance and repair of municipal streets. The tax expires on the 4th anniversary of the date of this election unless the imposition of the tax is reauthorized.
all right. Y'all have any discussion on this? We have one card signed up for tonight, so Doug Knowlton, if you'd like to come speak.
Doug Knowlton, 2749 Spruce Walk. Hello, Mayor and Council.
Evening.
I'm all for this. This is one good thing that this city has really done well. We're not where we want to be, but we're getting there. So I'm all for this, because if you do away with it, then we're going to fall in further disrepair. So I am all for this, guys. Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you. All right. No further discussion. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we adopt ordinance 630-26, ordering a special election to submit a proposal on the reauthorization of local sales and use tax at a rate of 0.3% to continue providing revenue for the maintenance and repair of the city streets.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
I think Roland has something he wants to say.
I mean, it's about this, but we're going to send some literature out, right, to our citizens on
Yeah.
this part,
On
right?
what's going to be on the
Yeah.
ballot.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
as well.
'cause-
just letting them understand what this is all about.
You bet.
So
Yes, I-
don't want them to look at it and say, oh, this is another tax.
Right,
Right.
right. The good thing is it's a sales tax. instead
Right.
of
Yeah,
property
that's,
tax, so.
The
Okay.
allocation.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll send something out.
But I'll invite Doug and everybody in the audience to speak to this with all the constituents, and everybody they know, that this is fixing our streets. And this money is dedicated by their vote to fixing our streets. Can't be used for anything else. So it is really a critical piece.
And it's a sales tax, not a property
Yeah,
tax.
well, that's true.
That's important too.
that's very important.
And we get so much sales tax from our industrial area, so it's people outside of our city that may never even drive on our streets that's paying for a lot of that sales tax, so it's good.
All right, I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, very good. Next item is consider Resolution 633-26, adopting the 2025 Tarrant County Hazard Mitigation Action Plan. I think Chief Rhodes?
Chief Rhodes? Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to give you a brief update on the hazard mitigation plan that we're bringing before you tonight. The last one was approved in 2020, and every 4 to 5 years, it gets updated. And essentially, the difference between the hazard mitigation plan and the emergency management plan I'll put it this way. It is, the mitigation plan focuses on long-term actions taken before the disaster to either reduce or eliminate risk to life and property. Those are generally focused on natural hazards, tornado, flood, ice storms, drought, things like that. So it's not the same as the emergency management plan. So we identify these things in all of the 29 cities in Tarrant County that participate in that. And then again, the difference between that and emergency management plan is emergency management plan dictates immediate short-term actions for response, preparedness, and recovery during the incident. So prevent it, identify those things in a mitigation plan, and then an emergency management plan is to act upon it if something happens. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any discussion? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, would like to consider Resolution 633-26, adopting the 2025 Tarrant County Hazard Mitigation Action Plan.
All right.
Did I read it?
A second.
All right, no more discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. All right, next item will be consider appointment of the interim city secretary, Lisa Boyd.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I'm
We
sorry.
just skipped
I
an
was
item.
just trying to skip that one. All right.
Trying to get out of here fast.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Municipal fee schedule.
Municipal fee schedules.
Get the heck out of here.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. The ordinance before you tonight is to amend the municipal fee schedule primarily for 2 items. One is, I guess it was a little over a year ago, a water and wastewater fee study was conducted by a consultant, and the results of that were a 4-year plan of increase to water and wastewater rates. This is the second installment of that plan that was to take effect effective January of 2026. Through some oversight, really that plan should have been implemented with the original overall fee structure, just with a notation in it that it would be effective January. But it was overlooked, and just as last year, at the time that study was completed and the first installment was put into effect in January, I guess it was just kind of forth of mind that that's when it would happen. So we're coming back, asking for that portion of the fee structure to be amended to implement the second installment of that rate study. Going forward, the changes will be implemented as part of the overall rate and fee structure, just with a notation that those will take effect in January of the fiscal year. The second component of that is the increase from Republic Industries for the refuse and recycling fees from their annual increase, which we usually don't get until right at the end of the calendar year anyway. So that one, most likely, will have to continue to come back in January, February, to ask for those to be implemented. Are there any questions or?
Are they highlighted in our packet which fees are going up or changing? I
It's,
see in red, I guess those are the changes.
No,
those, I believe were some things that somebody was actually having removed or clarifying, like the carport canopy patio covers. It looks like that was just a clarification of language. So what is increasing, which is on pages
Section 3.
82 through 6 is the water, wastewater. To give some percentages on that, the base fees for water for residential will increase 5.25%. For non-residential, 5.01%. The minimum use fee for both sectors is 5.08%. The volume rates will increase 5.71% and 5.61% respectively. Base fees for wastewater are 4.5% increase for both. And for the volume, those will increase, for the volume over 2,000 gallons of usage, those increase 38.7 and 38.45%. Part of that is that the city has historically provided an allowance within the base fee for the first 2,000 gallons. However, the rates that we are charged by the entities that we send our wastewater to, they start charging at gallon number 1. And so the fee study doesn't try and catch all of that up at once, but over the time frame of the increases, we'll get that in line so that the city is not losing out on paying for, say, 3,000 gallons of wastewater, but only collecting for 1.
Okay. So. All right. Very good. Y'all have any more questions?
Does that increase go across the board to every resident
Yes.
Okay.
And
and
business.
business? Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
I would have wanting to see this a little bit more in detail of what, is actually changing, and like you just said some 5% here and there, and yeah, I need to know a little bit more. I thought we had already talked about a pass-through rate that we were going to put on our water bill, which was, done last year or so.
Yeah.
So
There is a pass-through rate, but that's where I was saying that the pass-through rate only begins at the
2,000 gallons.
2,000.
The minimum use
1
amount.
gallons, whereas they are charging, the entities that we submit our wastewater to are charging from 0.01. And that's why on the volume, there's a bit more sizable increase because we are beginning to recoup what was built into that allowance, so that at the end of the 4-year cycle of the rate study, it will be 100% pass-through. It is currently not a 100% pass-through on every gallon that is going out.
So how much of increase are we looking at for this year? So starting Jan?
For the volume over 2,000, it's the 38%.
38%?
Yes. For the base fee, it is 4.5%. The way traditionally, most cities that have to send their wastewater to other entities treat it, the base fee is to cover all of our internal overhead, and then the volume is a pass-through. But because the base fee right now is subsidizing part of that pass-through, we're slowly increasing that rate a bit more percentage to recoup that. And then it will decline over the next 2 cycles until it's at the 100% pass-through.
So we're trying to play catch-up over 4 years.
So the
Yes.
thresholds really haven't changed, it's just the rates. Is that
Right.
correct? Okay, so
Yeah,
everything's
so-
still intact, it's just part of our 5-year plan to go up.
Right. When we passed this a year ago, we knew
Right.
this was going to come.
Right.
Now, the section 2 with the solid pickup, do you have any feel for what that went up?
It was 4%.
It was 4%?
Which was last year's as well.
Okay. Yeah, I suspect we're going to hear about this.
Do we need
Oh.
to notify the residents of this increase? Because I can already,
It gets published.
good.
Yeah, it's in here, it's written in the ordinance, that it has to be published.
Is it going, do we making it out on the website?
I don't think we're gonna send a letter about it, but maybe.
But, well, the website would be a good idea. Facebook page, post, but getting our communications folks to give people a heads up would, we'll definitely listen to our phone calls.
That's right. Yeah, it says publication in book or pamphlet form, is what it says on section 7 on the very last page.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
yeah. All right, anything else? Roland does.
No, I mean,
Look.
I think I need to go back and look at this a little bit more. I just need more information. I'm not ready to make my decision today.
Okay,
But so, and I'll get back to y'all later on today. But as far as I'm concerned, 38% increase with this thing, I just need to know all the details one more time. Go back to that study one more time and then make that decision.
do you wanna make a motion to table this item then?
I mean, if anybody else wants to,
This is a continuation of what we talked, this is the plan that we're implementing.
Right.
So, and,
Or you wanna take the vote and then get
Yeah.
educated after?
yeah, you
We
can,
can always go back and revise it again. If-
Yep.
Okay,
I don't think we're going to revise it, though, are we?
I don't think so.
no, it's just maybe more of an education for us.
Okay.
Because I just know we're going to be hit with questions like
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Well, people's bills aren't going up 38%.
In the, now, actually, especially the wastewater side.
It's a portion of the 5 or 6 components of the bill.
Right.
So, yeah,
But
no,
it's not a cumulative.
it's not a
38%.
cumulative,
It's like
it's-
roughly 3, 4, 5% in that range, is what the real change is.
Well,
I don't know where the 38%
No,
comes
but
from.
38% hits people like me who watered their yard a lot. And that was an intentional, that was part of the intentional rate study, that we were going to increase that because it helps to promote conservation and promote better use of our water resources,
So in 2 years, the bill doubles.
potentially. That's why I'm looking at a cistern. So,
So you're saying that if I water my yard a lot, I'm gonna pay 38% more for the water?
On the wastewater portion,
And,
which you've got, you do winter averages.
and
on
the waste, exactly, that it's in the, based on what I understand of our 3-month averaging, that should never come into play.
Right, no.
Because, only if you radically change your wastewater, which we calculate in December, January, February, would you get hit. We won't see that in the summer.
Right.
Anyway,
But we, the people that water their yard, this has always been clear that we were gonna get hit.
We were gonna
I
hit.
say we, because I water my yard too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just know with other utilities going up,
They're not going up 38%.
no, I'm just saying other utilities that each homeowner gets, they've gone up, and then if I'm just concerned about this.
but we have no choice.
Right.
It either comes out of the general fund or it comes out of the utility fund, and the proper place for it is to come out of the utilities where that's built as a pass-through.
We're gonna
You
take
use it, you pay for it.
We're gonna take our medicine here one way or the other.
Yep.
We are.
And that-
It's not just for the cost of the water, it's the cost of the infrastructure.
Absolutely,
That hasn't
yes.
been taken care of, so. Anybody want to make a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we consider ordinance 153726, amending the municipal fee schedule for fiscal year 2026.
I think the motion is to approve it, not consider it.
Okay.
Right.
All right, I'll restate
I
that.
second.
Okay, you don't have to read the whole thing, but just say motion to approve.
Motion to approve ordinance 153726.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So Teresa and Roland.
Bledsoe and Roland.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, next is consider appointment of interim city secretary. And City Secretary Lindsay Rollinson has submitted a resignation effective January 30th, 2026. To ensure continuity of operations during this period, the city council will appoint as interim city secretary until such time a permanent replacement is found.
Appoint Lisa Boyd.
Lisa Boyd as our interim city secretary.
Second.
Okay? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we're getting to first quarter investment. Nope, sorry, we already did that. Street improvement projects, and I think Kelly,
Kelly.
you're on board?
And then here, Roland.
Okay.
From there.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Kelly Morris, Public Works. See if Ronnie taught me right. All right, just checking. I'm sure y'all are aware of this first slide, our Series 2023 bond and street projects. To give you a quick update how those are going along. See, Joanne Court has been completed. The 2 sections of Mary Boas has been completed. Jameson has been completed. Right now, their main focus is Brooks and Oxley, the 2 remaining blocks. Brooks, curb and gutter should be laid down sometime this week. Last I heard, they're still waiting on equipment to show up. Oxley, the milling was completed, should have been completed today. I talked to our inspector about 3:30 this afternoon, and they're within 50 feet of completion. So they're moving along. I say that now, weather permitting. We may be getting close to the wet time of year. Obviously, towards the end of the project, there will be all the minor fixes here and there, maybe some cleanup, stuff like that. But I'm pretty happy with this crew they got, and we're moving quite right along.
Still on schedule?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, there's some shots here for you of your asphalt, and here we go. On to Violytics. We brought this forth back in December. contracts got approved on it. February 19th, we're doing a pre-kickoff call, kind of get an idea of what our next steps into implementing this. Later in the month, they'll be coming back out and we'll actually get some recording done of the streets. This will help us develop our asset management database. It utilizes AI. It's actually a pretty interesting tool. She did a demonstration where she came out to show us, and I think we're going to benefit quite a bit from it. On top of that, we get a PCI on top with it as well. We'll be able to correlate that with our GIS maps. So Violetics more or less scans everything above ground. Half in their GIS is everything underground. So we're hoping to put that together, and
Okay.
we'll finally know what we have.
Hoping, or we're going to?
No, we're in the process.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish I could snap my fingers and make it happen now. but-
Doesn't work that way.
Yep. Let's see, street markings. We got Vance, Ash, Popwell, and a short section of Norton down by Binion restriped. Looks pretty good. Happy with that crew we got. We got a really good deal on it. Would like to utilize them again in the future.
Kelly, I drove down Vance at night, and that is the most excellent striping. I mean, it's,
What a difference.
yeah, huge.
It's-
difference.
Vance and Popplewell,
Yeah, Popwell too.
Popplewell too.
It's just-
In the night also, it's
'Cause they use
safety-wise,
all
what a
those- All
difference.
those glass beads, and they put them on heavy too.
Yeah,
That makes all the difference. for me.
whatever you're doing there, keep doing that.
Yeah, I've noticed a section of Ash Park from Baker to
Yeah.
Latham. I know that needs to get done, so that's gonna be next on the list. I think
Okay.
there were some questions about some crosswalks in the area as well. We'll get that handled. So,
How did you get that vendor?
shopping around,
Okay,
more or less. Yeah.
all right. I didn't know.
We had got quotes in the past when we had Hanley Etterville, and they were less than half of the competitors.
Okay.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good and thick too, for sure. Is it
Yeah.
thermoplastic or paint?
The thermoplastics are on the stop bars, but
Okay.
paint for the striping.
Okay,
Yeah.
good deal.
Wow.
Let's see. Street maintenance plan, our curb and gutter list, it's about 11 locations. Instead of doing them all at once, I'm saving a little bit of money with splitting it up. They like to upcharge for mobilization fees, as we've seen in the past, so doing it this way, it's gonna save us a little bit. But we'll be able to complete this whole list by midsummer, so. Let's see, so far, they've done 492 linear feet.
You know, on those contracts, you still may want to look at the interlocal agreements with our other
That-
cities and just compare.
Yes, sir, and that's on my list of things to do.
Okay. Yeah,
Start looking more into the ILAs.
yeah. Good deal.
See, overlays and patchwork. Matthews, from Park to Pecan, we're gonna go ahead and do a 2-inch mill and overlay, just right out here by City Hall, that road. The sinkholes we can deal with and cut out and replace, but that whole road is alligated, and, I couldn't justify patch piecemealing that one together, so.
That'd be good. So you're going to fix around the manholes where it's failing before they do the main,
Yes, well, in this instance, there's no, from intersection to intersection, we're avoiding all manholes and valves.
okay,
So it's just simply 2-inch mill and overlay some asphalt.
good deal.
Now, are we
Speaking of-
doing that? Is the city doing that, or are we contracting that?
Contracting that out. I just don't have the equipment to, yeah. It would be pretty wavy if we did it in-house. You just need the bigger rollers and,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly, it's probably down in the weeds details, but there's a manhole on the eastbound side of Glenview that rattles my teeth when I run over it with my truck. I'm sure you know which one it is.
The one at the intersection of Booth Callaway?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
a mess.
Also, with Violetics, I want to put together a program where we're going around redoing the patches, or the pads around the manholes and
Good.
the lids.
Yep,
We had that once years ago, and they haven't held up.
right.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
So will that help prevent when we have flooding that the manhole lids don't slide down the road?
No, ma'am, that's I&I. That's simply our older infrastructure, the old clay tile pipes, the old brick manholes. It's letting rainwater from the street submerge. I mean, it's getting there everywhere else but pads, so it's gonna find a way. Should I go ahead and move into our
Yes,
departmental
please.
report?
Yeah, sounds good.
I'm sure y'all have seen the Scruggs tank. Looks good.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do the other ones with the dark color at the bottom? Because that's sexy.
Oh,
And I don't say
I
that
know.
about-
Wow.
But that's nice, very nice.
Sexy water tank.
Yeah.
We need to
So
post
London
pictures
is on
of
the
it.
list, but I think it's not
Okay.
scheduled for a couple more years, just because the paint coating on that was still in such a great shape. But
Okay.
if that's the consensus, then yes, we can continue going with that.
Yeah, I like
I'm
that
just saying
color.
it's all pretty.
Looks better than what other cities are doing, that's for
When-
sure.
Oh,
We're kind of
yes.
setting a standard.
When
it looks
needed.
like.
Yes. The two remaining tanks is London and our South 40 tank. The paint on there is still in great shape, so no rush on those.
Okay.
One thing we did add to Scruggs was a drain valve. I had no direct drain valve to empty the tank for
Yeah.
maintenance. We had to isolate a section of Scruggs and drain it from a fire hydrant. I had to get a little creative on it, so.
So what's the pipe that sticks out at the curb?
That is the overflow
That's the
pipe,
overflow.
Okay.
which was, in the past, I never really thought to look for a drain valve until the crew was like, we need the water out of here. And after a day and a half of draining out of the hydrant, we got it.
Well, I see they moved all their materials and the dumpster and all that stuff's
Did they
gone.
finally get I hadn't
It's
been
all
back
gone,
over
yeah.
there? Okay, yeah, that was a fight between the subcontractor and McGuire, but.
Oh, that's who it was? Okay.
Mhm.
I'll bet that was a big wastewater bill.
Good point.
Did it go toward y'all's bill?
Did you get your grass water?
Hey, you should have watered your grass.
That's water the grass. So Kelly, is the London tank, does it have the drain valves or does that
It
something
does
work?
have a drain valve, yes.
Okay.
And I know that because 2 years ago during the freeze event, it popped on us. So
Okay.
we were able to replace that under pressure, and so that one's good to go. Continuing in the water department, main breaks, we had 5 from November to December, 25 annual. It's not been too bad of a year for us, I say that. Meter leaks, we had 9 within November to December, putting us at 85 for the year. This past year, we started a valve and hydrant exercise program. And now that we have the hydro excavator, we can actually go out and clean these valves and exercise them properly. We've put in about 130 hours for the year on that.
That's great.
I look to double that this next year. We replaced a 2-inch water main on Booth Callaway at Baker Boulevard. This was a 2-inch main that we were guaranteed to work on at least 3 to 4 times a year. We're putting clamps on top of clamps on top of clamps, so we finally got that taken care of and off our board.
And that's now an 8-inch?
It's just a 2-inch.
It's just
It only has 2 connections on it, the abandoned shop out front and the auto body work in the back. We had a fire hydrant replacement at Scruggs and Boulevard 26. Someone was in a hurry to make that corner one night, took it out, so.
Was that the contractor working on the tower that did that?
They're the ones that notified me about it. I like to think it wasn't them, but no reports were ever made. It was never called in, so.
So did you all do all of this work on this sheet, on this page?
Yes, this is all in-house.
All in-house, that's
Yes.
great. Good deal.
So, very good.
Moving into wastewater. We've only had about 4 annual. It's been pretty good on that. I know we're having more grease issues, but this time of year it kind of spikes. I've got some new material that we can send down the line. It's going to help us fight that. Backups, we've had 5 November and December, 63 for the year. Service line repairs, we had 3 for November to December, putting us at 9 annual. After our call outs, 9, so 35 for the year. And 7,500 feet of wastewater lines cleaned for November and December. I apologize, I should have had an annual footage for that. On top of the cleaning, I'm also looking at downsizing our vac truck. Currently, that is our last piece of equipment that requires a CDL to drive. Myself and one of the crew leaders are the only 2 that have CDLs, so it's kind of pointless to have that piece right now. They do make one a full size like that that's a non-CDL required. So I've been in talks with Kinlock to see about trading that in to get a new one. They just went through ownership change, so now they're going through that process.
Sounds like a good plan to make it more versatile for any crew member to use if they're,
It's worked out great with our dump trucks. I
yeah.
don't see why it wouldn't
Okay.
be a problem with our back.
And it'll fit in that building. It'll fit in that building?
Yeah, it will give us a little more space in the building too, which would be nice. Remember, we had to extend the building out
Right.
with the material from the old fire department to make that one fit. So. Moving on to drainage, as y'all approved the new tractor purchase, Public Works appreciates that. It'll be enclosed and air conditioned, so I'll probably have arguments about who wants to go mow the levee this next season.
Man, it's
put in
not like
about-
the old days. You'd be out there sweating and,
Yep. We put in about 200 hours mowing down there at the Big Fossil, clearing inlets and inlet inspections. Once again, the hydrovac has really helped out with that, with actually cleaning the inlets out instead of having to put someone down in the hole and do it by hand. It's been very beneficial. Tree trimming's been a little light, only about 40 hours this year. Ms. K contacted me, I guess we got some abatement work, so we'll up those hours a little bit.
good.
Our vegetation treatment, he was out, I think, early November and sprayed all of our drainage ditches. Got a great contact there. He's been taking care of us for the past 3 years now. We had an emergency stormwater repair that needed to take place at the creek on Callaway, the apartments. It failed a day before a big rain event that was scheduled. At the same time, on Oxley, we had that sewer manhole replaced. It was about 20 feet deep down in a hole. It was it was a necessity that we got that repaired as quick as possible. XL4 helped us out on that one. They were out that afternoon.
20 feet deep?
Yeah.
Pretty deep.
But that side of town, that's where all the rainwater goes to, probably from about London,
Right.
going back east, so
Yep.
could have been a bad deal. Moving on to streets, done about 54 potholes from November to December, putting us at 292 annual. Like I spoke earlier, we've ordered, we just got 4 tons of cold mix. I've got some guys in class right now, we're a little short-handed, but by the end of the week, we'll have guys heading back out, and I plan on next week hitting it pretty hard. I know the freeze event caused quite a bit of new potholes around town, so.
You also told me too, your guys are gonna be out driving the streets looking for the potholes too, not waiting for them to be called.
So we've got a list, we'll knock out first, and then they'll just go out and street by street.
Yep, that's good.
Awesome.
Now, is the cold mix, I'm gonna see if I can say it right, the cold mix, is that the one that when it rains and stuff, it floats out of the hose?
Yes
No.
and no, it's how they apply it. If they're not blowing out the pothole well enough, they're not cleaning all the debris, if you're not getting a good solid,
And adhesion?
Right,
yeah,
okay,
adhesion, then yeah, it's gonna.
that makes a lot more sense.
We've changed a little bit of the ways how we apply the cold mix. We're not just shoveling it off the back of the truck into it and rolling it over. We're actually taking time and cleaning them, making them last a little bit longer.
That's why the training.
Yeah, I was there.
There actually is an art to it.
Yeah.
If you want to see cold mix, I got a bunch of it in my front yard.
Right? It's called curbs.
We only replaced 8 signs in the last 2 months. I'm about to put in another big order of the street signs.
Oh, good.
I would put us maybe less than 100 to have all the street signs replaced with the new logos.
Good.
I'm looking to have that completed by the summertime.
Okay.
6 debris removals, that's anything from trash to couches on the side of the road. It's just miscellaneous calls that we'll get. Our street maintenance plan, like I said earlier, the curb and gutter replacement, we're 492 linear feet on that. Also worked with TxDOT on Baker Boulevard for their mill and overlay. Need to get them back out and restripe the turn coming off of Root Snow onto Baker.
Yeah.
That's on my list.
Do they have to do that, or can we do it without?
I'm gonna reach out to them first,
Yeah.
because they don't charge us.
Yeah, okay,
But if I got a crew out on Ash Park, I may just have them go ahead and knock it out.
okay, good.
Some miscellaneous reports, our continuous inspections on the roadways. Sorry, I left CDBG in there. And our capital projects, once we get that Violetics up and running, we'll be hitting pretty hard, getting those reports done. assisting with our other departments within the city. I stress communication is the key. If any other department needs help from Public Works, we're always there to help them out. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about that. Assisted with the community Christmas tree lighting event. I completed a wastewater laboratory class. One of our crew leads, Jesse Pearson, he passed his Class C water distribution test, so now he's distribution licensed. I've got 3 other guys that are test ready. They were all scheduled during the freeze, so now we're waiting on the college to reschedule those test dates. But we're doing pretty good license-wise. I have a pretty good feeling about 6 months from now, every single person will at least have a water license.
All right.
Good.
Excellent work.
Good.
And with that, any questions?
Do you have cleaning out Creek Trail on your list?
Yes, ma'am. That's part of our annual, early spring, we like to get out there. It's fighting the rain.
I just know there's usually issues, so I just want to make sure that we get in there and clean it before we start having all the heavy rain.
Most definitely. Yeah, and I'll have the guys out there with the backhoe as well, doing a little bit of removal. I know we can't do a whole lot with our equipment, but at least it's something to keep the water flowing.
Sure.
Well, and I know the Corps of Engineers kind of limits y'all too on what all you can
Right.
take out of there.
Yep.
But have y'all looked at that wall that was falling, that was coming out, and y'all had put the fence up around it?
On the back side.
Mm-hmm. On that
It's gonna
corner.
take some engineering on that. We'll have to get with half and
Okay.
come up with a relatively inexpensive plan.
Because I think they said something about the Corps of Engineers said we couldn't really do much with that because that was part of the flow, so.
Mhm.
I don't know.
But we can make it a safe environment at least.
Yep. So this Violetics, the one, so you have, I saw they had a little thing of the maps of the street and you know, is it something which is only for y'all or can it be for the citizens also that they can see some things like?
We need to,
Front facing for citizens or?
I would love to have y'all have access for it, so y'all are up to date with what's going on. We have to watch out what we release to the public.
Okay.
It's a bit of a national security issue, homeland security issue.
Oh, okay,
Especially
okay.
when it deals with our infrastructure.
Mm.
But at the same time, we would be transparent about what our.
Right, I wanted to know which components can be, so we can see or, you know, can be presented out also. But
So-
yeah, okay.
Yeah, we definitely, clearly, we have a whole lot of interest in making as much of that transparent as we can.
Correct.
And I totally get Homeland
Right.
Security and the
I'm sure there's some filters or something we could have,
Right.
we would have
Minimally,
access
there-
to, but the public wouldn't have
I'm
access.
more interested in the street part of it, you
Right.
know, like,
Yeah.
not the.
Well,
the
being able to pull up your
utilities
street
and
and say, okay, this is classified as green, red, blue, purple, whatever, you know, just that level would be a big step. And of course, a little blurb as to what that means and sort of, maybe a pie chart of what the percentages are, I don't know. But stuff that is not classified, not confidential, but save me a lot of information for the citizens, for everybody.
Right,
Any more questions?
no, I'm good.
2 questions. How quickly are you going to have your tractor?
Well, I think he's itching. He's been reaching out to me every couple of weeks about if. I'm
Okay,
good to
so,
go for it.
so now, once we get approved, check and get cut, they'll be happy. Because that's going to be a big plus for getting things done. Second question was, during our freeze, what was the impact? How many cutoffs do we have to go through and?
Our guys had 10 call-outs. the entire-
Sweet,
Wow.
We did very well.
that's a blessing, thank you.
Low.
It did give us more time. We come up with a plan for actually, we can lay down our own brine mix now. We don't need a big old truck. We had a 100-gallon tank and we've rigged up some PVC and now I've been doing research on how to make brine. Turns out it's just salt water.
Right.
It is salt water.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the next event, we'll have that deployed, and we got a plan in place to go hit it about 24 hours before the weather takes a turn, and
Yeah,
Nice,
so hopefully that'll help.
thank you,
Yes.
thank you.
that's
All
good.
right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kelly.
All right,
Thank you all.
Good presentation.
Oh,
Yep.
all right, next we have Chief Rhodes, Fire Department.
Well,
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. And I am going to jump right into it, and I'm going to preface the first few slides are not the best news. And then we'll get into our update, and you'll see where I'm going with this in a second. So, we, when I hired on in end of October, one of the things that I was faced with right off the bat is we were losing 5 of our personnel. And that ranged from the fire marshal to a captain, driver, 2 drivers, and a firefighter. So that obviously, in that transition, priority number 1 was to focus on making sure that we acted very quickly to work on replacements and not have any drop in the level of service that our citizens are accustomed to. And so that's been priority number 1. So this photo here was at Tarrant County College where we had a new hire test. We had a really good turnout for that. What helped us with that is that we did look at some firefighter EMTs. Firefighter paramedic is kind of the gold standard, but and we did hire a paramedic in that hiring. So we have 7 certified paramedics on shift right now out of a shift strength of all 3 shifts of 12 firefighters. And so that's not bad. It's not exactly where I want to be. So some of the new hires that we've hired, we will look at some point of potentially sending them to paramedic school. So here is the interview of some of our candidates. We were doing all of this in December. We got on it very quickly. And these are some of our new hires. John Walker, Michael Irizarry, and Wyatt Mays. And then the newest young man that started last Friday is Bradley Call. And so Michael, Izzy as we call him, is the only paramedic out of those 4 young men. Now, this is the other part that I've got to tell you before I go into talking about the positives. We're losing 2 more. And all of these folks are going to Tarrant County ESD 1. Just is what it is. And unfortunately, too, on top of that, Lene was here this evening, and she has notified us that she is seeking other employment as well with Wise County EMS. So it has been quite the challenge, to say the least. We're doing our level best, and we still have a existing list, and I've got young folks that are chomping at the bit to come to work, okay? Now what that does do, unfortunately, is it does lower our tenure as this happens. So, and you'll see what my priorities are through this year as I talk about it. But several of you were here tonight or earlier for our badge pinning. I just wanted to go over this for those of you that could not attend. This is Randy Fulton. He, as it says here, he's got 40 years of fire service experience. I am super excited to have him on the team. He is going to be an asset, already has been since he started on January the 5th. He left the city of Pantego as their fire chief to come to work here in Richland Hills, and he did that for several years, as you can see. He also worked in the Arlington Fire Department for several years and promoted up through the ranks to be lieutenant. And he has been involved in all kinds of different things over the years. He is a noted instructor at Tarrant County College. He is actually one of their instructors of the year. He received a state recognition for that. So he brings a lot to the table. He also helped develop and manage the Arlington ISD program like we have with the BISD school district. So really excited about him, and I have beat that to death. Forgive me for my graph here. I'm pretty decent with PowerPoint, but you can see it doesn't go up like it should. That is on me. But I left this in here that I wanted to make a point here. As we look at our calls for service, we've generally stayed around 1,700 to 1,800 over the last few years. We did have a jump in 2025. I attribute some of that. We do have some locations in the city where we go quite frequently. Sometimes a couple times a day. That's the way things go. And that kind of is, ebb and flow there. And this year, we had several of those. So far, into January and the few days we're into February, our call volume's pretty much up as well. We had a record month in January. Now, again, we had an ice storm, and the guys, once we got past the first day where everybody was hunkered down, they started running quite a bit of calls, falls, different things like that. So it's hard to tell. I still predict, just looking at the calls, I think we're going to level back out to the mid-1800s on our call volume. And so that's what I wanted to share with you on that. Our call type breakdown for 25, in our graph here, you can see we run about 61% of our calls are EMS rescue related. That's motor vehicle accidents and medical calls. That's actually a little low, believe it or not. It's not a bad thing, but around us in the Metroplex, you will see departments running 70 to 85% of their calls or medical calls. As I looked through the data through ESO, you can kind of see that on the national averages here, our service calls, we tend to run a lot more service calls. You can see we ran 17% versus a national average of 7.6 to 8%. That the community calls us for all kinds of different things, and that's a good thing too. So it doesn't. The national average is really only good for just giving us some stats to look at. Our national average for false alarm calls, 8 to 12%, and in here we were. My percentage didn't show up, but we were lower than that on false alarm. Actually, our service calls is the outlier there. We're considerably higher than the national average. So just sharing some information with you on that. When we look at the November and December calls for service, you can see that in November, our response time was 6 minutes and 5 seconds total from 911, what's your emergency, to on-scene time. The reason December was different is we had, and I went and pulled this data, we had some calls where crews responded code 1. And there was actually quite a few of those. Those skew our response times. I'd opted not to pull that out because I just wanted to give you a true picture of what the average was. You look at the dispatch time, pretty much consistent throughout the year. They do a good job on that. That's actually below the national average for them to process the call and get us dispatched. Our turnout time, that's the one that fire chiefs can control, and that is the time that they get the call, get out of the station, and pull out on the ramp. And so I am a stickler for that. I want them out of the station under 60 seconds on all calls. And so you will find over, as we go forward and I give you updates, that is the metric. That one is a huge deal to me because that's the one I can control. I'm not going to tell them to drive faster. I don't have a lot of control on how dispatch processes it, but I sure can control when we get out of the station and get going. And so our average drive time, you can see in November that 3:38, and then you jump over to December and it's 4:28. That's where they went code 1. And so that's why you're going to see that difference there. When I come back to you next time, we'll see, because I've got a little better way to monitor that, and we're tracking it a little different on code 1 responses. Calls for service, both up, both around 173 in November and 170 in December. And then aid given, you can see kind of varied, and then received is what we get. So we give aid to our neighbors probably more often, as I've learned, is Haltom City. We go to Haltom City a little bit more than we go to North Hills, and that's fine. I mean, we've got quite a bit of border there with them, and they give us, in return, a lot of help as well. But we also get help from North Richland Hills. So if we get a structure fire in Richland Hills, our alarm assignment, since we're a single company, to meet the alarm assignment, we're going to get companies from Haltom, sometimes 2, maybe 1 from North Hills, and depending on where it's at, it could even be from Hurst, to meet the alarm assignment for a residential or commercial structure fire. and that's how that works. Any questions on that?
So we don't get any support from Fort Worth?
Not that I have seen yet, but I will, Councilwoman, I will tell you that I intend on reaching out to Fort Worth to see if there's any interest. I just haven't had time. When I was in Haltom, that was a huge deal to get more closer working relationship with the city of Fort Worth. I also carried that over into Euless. And we broadened our auto aid with these two cities, and that's on my list of priorities, is to make sure that we're working as closely as possible with all of our neighbors.
Chief, can you help me understand why the faster response time is a longer response time? Or pardon me, higher priorities takes a longer response.
The code one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. So code one is just regular driving. I should have clarified that. I apologize. Code three is lights and sirens. So code one is going to be, essentially they pull out on the ramp, they're gonna stop at the lights, they're gonna stop at stops. And so what we do on those kind of calls, I'll give you a good example. During the ice storm that we had, just about every call was code one. And we dropped the alarm assignments because we couldn't get help and vice versa. We couldn't go to Haltom City or North Hills because we needed to make sure we were responding to calls here. So what we did is we dropped down to, instead of on a commercial fire alarm or water flow alarm, when we normally send 3 companies, we are only sending 1 company during that time. But to answer your specific question, code one, following all of the state laws and regulations, and they are just going there. It could be a fall, it could be a lift assist, it could be somewhere where they've went multiple times, and we look at it when we can to reduce the risk so we don't get in a motor vehicle accident going on something that is a very low acuity call. And that's where I've given the captains some discretion to reduce that code if they see fit.
Okay.
Did I not answer your question? I'm sorry.
I'm not understanding. I'll meet with you afterwards.
Okay, okay.
Code three is, oh crap, get there right away, and code one is get there normally.
Normally,
That's why it's
yes.
longer.
It
'cause
just,
you had
it doesn't
more-
jive.
You had more
make
code
sense
ones.
with the numbers, yes.
They had more code ones.
Okay, so what we're talking, the average is a weighted average.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. Everybody else good to proceed? Okay.
Yes.
So, this is a little breakdown here for business inspections and fire prevention, looking back into 2025 as a whole. We did 100% of our businesses. That's a huge deal to me, is to make sure we're stepping foot in all of our businesses. Certificate of occupancy inspections, they did 39. Violations found, it kind of varies, so it doesn't always equate to you go into a business. There are, from time to time, actually quite frequently, let's say we were inspecting here at City Hall, there is a high chance that there would be no fire code violations in this building. And so you will go do inspections. The numbers don't always jive. Sometimes you can find it where violations are actually higher than the number of business inspections. I've seen that in certain areas. That generally happens when you have a lapse in inspection for a year or two. Some cities that occasionally will drop their inspections for one reason or another. As long as I'm here, we will every year step foot in every single business that we have. And so we've also are in the process of implementing and getting back to doing our pre-fire planning and our target hazards, which are schools and high hazard businesses in the city. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. So this is some other areas, fire investigations in the city. So you can see, we don't have a lot of fires, and that's indicative of most of your communities. Now, Haltom, they tend to have a lot of fires, and they did when I worked there. I got a lot of experience there, and it just hasn't changed much over the years. So the last of my time here, so far, the last few months, the fires that we've had have been going to Haltom City and giving assistance. And that's just the way it's been. So the ones that we've had here in the city, of only 5 in 2025, that could be a car fire, it could be a minor type of a fire, backyard, things like that. Invoice fees were, for fire code permits were invoiced at $28,740. public education, 32, and then car seat installations at 3. Now, this is what I'm hoping to achieve this year. We want to train and prepare these new personnel and personnel in new roles. That is the number one priority. We got new captains, we're going to have some new drivers, and new firefighters, so that is top of the list, just to make sure we're preparing them and that they're safe and giving our citizens the best service possible. Continue to inspect 100% all businesses, stay engaged in the community. That's another one that is very important. Enhance our pre-fire planning program of target hazards, which I mentioned a minute ago, and then adopt the next edition of the International Fire Code. We're in the 2018 edition. JP and I have discussed this. When I say next edition, I should have clarified that. We're looking to go to the 2021 edition of the International Fire Code. And so that's what he and I and our staff will start working together, and we would like to do that late spring, maybe, we don't really have an exact date, but we're hoping to start in the next 3 or 4 months, really hitting that hard to get ready to bring that to you guys for consideration for adoption of the new fire code. Increased public education programs. I've talked to our fire inspector on this. At schools and daycares, we're going to try to be more involved. PD has a training later this week that they've invited us to at one of the elementaries, so we're going to try to participate with them on that. So last one is, when we can, we're going to continue to have a social media presence. That's what a lot of folks get their information that way. Okay, let's talk about Leslie Drive and Norma Lane real quick. This is, JP and I and our staff have worked on this. This is the area that y'all had interest in to have emergency access gates. So we have went out, our fire inspector, Brian Brindley, has got us 3 quotes, and they range from a low of $11,347 for both projects to do. If y'all are okay with us moving forward, it would be something in the, of the fashion of the middle photograph. I don't know if that's your comfort level. We believe that, and you can always go in there and slide privacy things in that fence. If that's what we want to do to give it a little more privacy. But what we've talked about is we wanted to maintain that integrity there. If you look at the picture on the right, you can see that the concrete is a little higher there. Are y'all able, that's my phone, the best I had. There's gonna be a little work on our end before we can move on that, but it can be done. That quotes that I gave you are only for the gate process, and that is gonna be a gate that slides back along the existing fences there. It won't swing out into the road, because as we looked into that, that's going to go in front of people's homes or out into the fire lane back behind there where, what is that, EOS Fitness and all that. So we're looking to slide that. We have our quotes, and they range, like I said, and the 2 of them are in the mid to low 11s, and then we have a third one that's on the high side. So when JP and Public Works are ready and they do their assessment on how that transition is going to be, we can start moving forward on that and get that and moving.
Chief, those prices include demo and the fence and any concrete work that has to be done?
Well, the concrete work, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I've got at least one company right now that I'm waiting for a quote, and now that I'm working directly with Kelly, he said he's got a few more contacts for some additional quotes that we're going to get for the concrete pour.
Okay, so that's outside those costs?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, just curiosity, what was the high number? Are we at 15, 16?
The high number of the 3 quotes on the gates was $18,000.
Okay.
And what do the 3 look like? So you said the one in the middle.
Well, that is my example of the type of gate that we would be putting in, if you guys were okay with that.
And is that what the quotes are for the middle?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That style of sliding gate.
And it's 11,000 per gate, or?
For both.
For both gates?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are these gonna be manual also?
They will. They'll have a manual, as we call it, a Knox lock, that would only be opened by the police department or the fire department when the situation dictated that we need to give emergency access to those folks.
Good job. I like it.
Now, again, this is all preliminary, but we just started getting these numbers together, working hand in hand with JP and Public Works, and just wanted to see where you guys, if y'all were okay with that.
My only comment is we're trying to avoid chain link fences here in the city, and that's going in the wrong direction.
I was a little concerned about that. I will tell you this, Councilman, that if we do like on the right, the masonry style, or the drop-in, it is going to get extremely expensive for us. And I thought this would be the first attempt to see, we can put the privacy drop-ins, but again, it's your decision. I can go back and we can get you another set. I just had my staff give you this first to see if that's something you're interested in.
And if I may add, when we spoke about it with Chief Rhodes, I mean, if this was a fence, it would be very difficult to approve our own fence that wasn't an approved material. However, we have to consider it for what it is, and it's technically a gate.
A gate,
And so
yeah.
gates
Right.
are allowed to be alternative materials, and so that was kind of the approach that we were taking with this. The goal, obviously, is to find ways to best screen it. So it isn't just a chain link fence, and find at least a decent enough material that will act as a privacy screen as well.
Yeah. So 2 comments on that. We probably ought to solicit the residents over there to get their feedback on, and 2, I have a gate that is wood, right, that's like that, so it's possible. But like you said, probably more expensive.
To answer the first part of your comment, our intention was if we were given the approval to move forward, was to talk to the neighbors.
Right.
And we have not done that yet, because I didn't want to start doing something if I needed to kind of change directions.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna want the privacy part of it,
And we'll put some signage, there would be signage that we would put up there, and it's not gonna be opened very often. The
Right.
intention would
Right.
be, during the weather conditions that I have not seen personally yet, but, as I've been told, they are significant when that does happen.
Yep.
And that would just allow them the ability to get out of their neighborhood.
Yep.
Will the height of the fence
Yes, sir.
and gate match? Okay.
That's something that I gave specific directions, that they would be, it would not be any difference in the height.
Right.
Okay, so, and adding slats is not, that's
I
an
can-
add-on.
I can look, well, yes, the slats, the drop-in, but as I looked it up on the internet, it's not much.
It's not significant.
No, sir, no.
It's just ugly.
Yeah, some sort of privacy or some sort of, that cover slats
Yes,
would
sir.
really help.
Well, Pignatelli, the car shop across the street over there,
Mhm.
they have all the slats. Just take a picture of that when you come to us and show it to us and show the people what it could look like, because theirs looks decent.
Right.
After they put the slats on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not beautiful, but it's just an
Well-
emergency access is all
I was
it
gonna say,
is.
this is behind buildings and at the end of people,
Right.
that street.
But that fence, that one fence on the left, it's in bad shape.
One, yes, sir, that is falling. I mean,
It is.
that was one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we didn't open it up where people were passing through there. Well, already
Yeah.
there's no,
Yeah.
you can walk right through there pretty easily.
Right.
So we will actually be improving the security there from the back.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to the last slide, unless y'all still want to, yes, sir.
Chief, do you need us to bring this up in the next meeting to authorize the
Can I
Sure.
defer that to?
the chief? Yeah, the
Chief- I don't know.
City
the
manager,
answer to
yeah.
that question.
What was your question?
If we need to, if this council needs to act on approving funding or process, we should get it on the agenda.
Yes, we will. We'll bring it forward.
All right. Now, this is very busy. Hopefully you guys can see it, but this is the Fort Worth EMS Gold Star membership program, which is in effect. And just wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. And I think I've went kind of long, so I don't mean to, but essentially, you can see here that the average ambulance transport is about $1,500 on average in the Fort Worth EMS system. The Gold Star program allows you to get an annual membership, If you have medical insurance, it's $69. If you do not have any insurance at all, it's $110. And so it's unlimited for everyone in the household. Even it carries over if a spouse had, if a family member had a spouse that was in a nursing home, if they are in the Fort Worth system, EMS system, it falls under there too.
Oh,
So that's one I stumbled across the other day. There are 14 cities in the regional membership, and we are one of those. You've got Haltom City, Forest Hill, Burleson, Blue Mound, Haslett, all of these cities, White Settlement, Westward Village, all of these cities have the ability to have the same membership program that we do. And you can see that anything that your insurance, if you have insurance, doesn't pay, if it is a true emergency, this membership will cover that cost. And so that is, again, a pretty nice deal. We've already had a couple citizens come in to at the fire station, and I've already walked them through the sign-up process. So I believe there's interest in the community. Membership starts once they receive, this is the form, and we are going to have these at the library available for, and we can put them anywhere else. We're going to push this out through social media as well. But the way Fort Worth has it, it's not really the most user-friendly. You can't really sign up online. You can call them and talk to them about it, but you got to fill this form out, send in your payment. Once they receive it, after a few weeks, they'll send you a membership card. I don't know either. It's kind of odd
Like
that you can't do it online.
1980.
Yes.
Yeah,
But it's still a very good program. The things that are excluded quickly are doctor office visits, dentist, physical therapy. You can't just use it to go and do routine stuff. And then you see that the other part I discussed there, and I am done unless y'all have questions. I apologize for going a little long.
Can I download that form online?
Pardon?
Can I download the form instead of having to come pick one up?
Yes, you can. Yes,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir. You go to Fort Worth EMS, go and put in Gold Star program, and you can download it, but you still have to fill it out and send it in.
We can put a link.
The problem is, that yeah, we can,
On our
I can,
website,
actually,
yeah.
I can send it to you because I've done it.
On the website, correct?
It is my understanding, yes, ma'am, Landon, we discussed it. I have not went to verify that, but I believe that is the
Okay.
case.
The problem with that page is their address is not, they got the whole form, but no address to send it to. It basically says, put it in the envelope that we provide and send it.
I did not catch that. I will get on top of that in the morning and get us an address,
Yeah,
and
let
we'll
us
make
know.
sure
That'd be
our
good.
site is updated. I totally.
I
get that.
appreciate it because I've already sent it. I want to make sure it went to the
Well,
right
so the
place.
two folks that have come in have said they already got it signed up, so maybe
Oh,
I'm
wow.
missing
When
something.
did they come in?
Just last week.
Okay, then I'm in trouble.
Yep, they had already sent
No,
their-
you're not in trouble. Fort Worth EMS is in trouble for being Luddites.
Well, no, it's just that I've got a check out there.
Right, yeah,
Somewhere in the
right.
Fort Worth system.
Right.
So Chief Rhodes, I have a question for you. If it costs Fort Worth to bring an ambulance over here, $1,505,
Yes, ma'am.
and we're only paying, residents are only paying $69, we know Fort Worth ain't gonna eat that. Who gets charged that?
Well,
That
8,000 people pay $69, and 8,000 people aren't calling the ambulance.
Right.
That really, it's like any other
like
insurance. They are taking, I guess the risk is that it'll be a relatively low number of folks that use it.
Right.
And they make it up by
make it up in
marketing
volume.
the membership.
So there's no extra cost going
No,
to
ma'am.
the city
No, ma'am.
for us?
Nope.
Nope. The only thing that I came across that was a little Medicaid under the Health and Safety Act, it doesn't pay, it's Medicare, not Medicaid.
Right.
So,
And that's in their application. They
yes,
make that
it
clear.
states it very clearly in there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Teresa, if everybody in Richland Hills paid that, then we could run 370 ambulance rides a year.
Without a problem.
So they've done all
Yeah.
the risk analysis math on that.
Yep.
Chief, just one quick thing, just let us know how, I mean, we can help you all, through the transition of the fire department, the staff and all that, just, let us know how we can help y'all and support y'all and
So-
whatever we need to do.
Yes, sir. And I will tell you, the city, Chief Sylvester has been great to work with, and we've got a plan. It's just kind of takes the wind out of your sails a little bit, this last round. I had literally told Chief, and staff that we were, the day before, that, hey, we're fully staffed, and the next day I find out about this. So,
Don't ever say that again.
yeah, I won't. And I should have known that, because that's happened to me in the past. But, this too shall pass.
That's right.
We've got the right folks in place, I believe. The captains, they are in a very good frame of mind. They work together well, and we've given them the task to get, we're really up in our training, and, we'll be okay.
You're an optimist, and that's good.
Yeah.
I like
We
that.
need it.
All right.
Chief, just, in other cities, you've implemented this, that all citizens are automatically covered. Is that something you think we should look at as a program, or what's your advice?
I think we would need to talk about it a little more in depth. Now, when I was in the city of Euless, they had essentially this same program. What it was is, if you live in the city of Euless, that's where I still live, is that if I basically have the membership, the city covers it. Everybody that lives in Euless does not get balance billed for any ambulance ride. They are covered. So now, so if you don't have insurance, they will do an attempt, a soft attempt to collect. If you have insurance, whatever insurance pays, whatever that amount is, they will collect that, but the citizen does not get balance billed. You don't go to collections. So, Councilman, to answer your question, there's probably some more things that we would need to look at, because the Fort Worth EMS system does try to charge a little bit for unit hour time that medics are in our city. And so we would need to do a really deep dive to make sure that we're not missing something. Is it a benefit for our citizens? Yeah, but the cost, I cannot answer that without doing some research on it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We have planning and development with Director Duque.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Chief Duque, Development Services, presenting the department report for the Development Services Department. Starting off, as I always do, with a quick breakdown of the previous month. For this slide, it is January. January is typically a pretty slow month for most permitting departments, wherever you go. And so you'll see in January, we brought in 18 MEP permits, 2 building or remodel permits, 5 fences, 2 signs, 9 right-of-ways, and 2 certificate of occupancies. I'm just going to briefly touch on a few developments that we've actually got some updates that I would like to share. But after that, I'm going to jump into some of the alternative projects that I've been focusing on over the last couple of weeks and months. So to start off, Richland Crossing, obviously, those buildings have been constructed. Almost all of them, if not all of them, have been sold. What everybody's been focusing on now has been landscaping and the parkway. And if you drive past it on Baker Boulevard, you can see that stretch of land from Baker Boulevard to their fence is pretty damaged. And if you're to drive through their development, you'll notice that it's pretty bare along some of the parkways in there as well. And so we had a very constructive meeting with the developer and his team last week about what our expectations are for this development and what it should look like in the future before we're willing to provide any final acceptance. And ultimately, we came to an agreement on a handful of items, specifically, obviously, cleaning up those parkways, laying new grass seed to hopefully allow for that to grow in the future, removing some of those rocky areas, cleaning up the rocks at the corner of Popwell and Baker, as well as installing a lot more landscaping in the internal areas of the development. This all kind of started because there was never a landscaping plan that was submitted as part of this development, and so now we are retroactively trying to get them to include more landscaping. And that's what we've been doing, and it looks like we're in a really good place right now. So hopefully over the next couple of weeks, months, we'll start to see some general improvement for this development, especially on the parkway. Feel Great Car Wash, they've been open and operating since August, which is, the good news they provided is since they've opened multiple different locations in 2025, and all of their locations last year, this is the second best performing site. And so that's really good to know. That's just goes to show, obviously, that we've got good traffic counts. We've got a large and strong customer base along Boulevard 26. And they have they finally reached out. Their event coordinator is ready to start planning their ribbon cutting. I know this has been a long, ongoing conversation, but they are eyeing either March 25th or March 26th, so I'll reach out in the next couple of weeks to see what everybody's availability is. I will add that they are a chamber member, so the chamber will be involved, which will make that event a whole lot more eventful.
So I was up there earlier today, and there were 8 guys all dressed in the Feel Great car wash, whatever, shirts. So I was talking to one of the guys, and he said, yeah, we do this once a week. We hit all of our sites, and we check all the apparatus, make sure it's working correctly, because I'd reported something yesterday. They aren't doing the polish on there. So anyway, but they were all out, but they do that. So it's a pretty good car wash, really great car wash, I guess, you know? A lot different than most of them.
You can tell they've got a very, systematic operation that they run there,
Yeah.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know it seemed like it was a pipe dream that we were ever going to get some sort of ribbon cutting, and they kept delaying it, but I'm happy to announce that they have given us dates, so we are getting closer. And then the last development that I'm going to touch on is the contractor yard on Hanley-Etterville. So obviously, building permits were issued in October. A lot of the construction is underway. Plumbing work's been completed. They're kind of doing some early foundation work right now. But the one update that I wanted to provide is that they are in the process of trying to acquire that corner lot at the corner of Midway and Hanley-Etterville. There are no plans to do any development on the property right now. I think the plan is if they're able to acquire it, they're just going to use it for outside storage. If you were to drive past that piece of property right now, it's not the prettiest thing to look at in the entire world. And so if they aren't able to acquire it, they will have to fence it in. That's going to be the number one thing. The fencing will have to meet our standards and so forth. And so I think that it is a temporary benefit for the community and for the developer, in that he'll have a larger storage area and that lot will essentially be screened in. Obviously, as a part of that review, we'll need to make sure that there are no visibility triangles that are influenced and that it meets all of our necessary standards. But that is the kind of a preliminary proposal that we're working on with that developer right now. And the other thing I wanted to mention is we've received signage plans. And so you can see these are pretty substantial monument signs that they're proposing to put out on this property. I know we've had a lot of conversations about monument signage recently, and I'm really, kind of excited to see signage of this stature because, again, this is a entryway to our community on the south side. And these are pretty serious looking signs, and I'm excited to see what they're going to look like once built.
So they'll be taller than about 8 foot?
Well, I think that I'll have to check the plans again, but I believe the main one that you can see that says 5 Alarm Business Park will be pretty tall, and I think those are actually some of the original pipes that were on that property when they were doing the cleanup.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
JP, are we letting that contractor deal with trying to get a hold of that property owner on the corner and do that all on their own, or?
Yes. So interestingly enough, we were trying to assist them in that process a while ago. I mean, months ago, when they've always been interested in that property.
Sure.
The issue has been contacting whoever was owning it. Obviously, we had no luck from a community compliance standpoint. Just from a general outreach standpoint, we've had no luck, and he's had no luck, the developer. And it wasn't until one day he was out on the site and he heard that the property owner was just walking around on the property.
Gotta be kidding me.
Yep, that's what happened. He called me, I was at home that day, and he said, "You'll never guess what happened." I said, "What's going on?" And he said, I finally met the owner. He was legitimately walking around the property on a random, Saturday. So that was his opportunity to kind of, make contact, introduce himself, and I guess they've been negotiating and trying to figure out what they wanted to do ever since. And it sounds like they're getting closer to a potential sale. I doubt they're going to do a rental agreement or a lease agreement. I would venture to guess that it's probably going to be an ultimate just transfer.
Buy it outright, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're just negotiating what that price is.
Any idea why that guy's been missing in action? Or?
No, I haven't. Well, of course, he's disappeared ever since that conversation.
Right.
I've had no luck, but he's got his contact information.
Okay.
He's been having, they've been communicating kind of back and forth, but not, again, it's not an easy line of communication by any means. But yes, he was able to make contact, which was
Okay, good.
really funny.
So they'll have sales tax from these businesses too, won't they?
Absolutely, and I will
So
add.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, and we purposely wanted to make sure that this development provided as many parking spaces as they possibly could. Because if we just kind of looked at it as a contractor office or warehouse storage yard, then really we would have only required them to have like 50 or 60 parking spaces for 6 units. In that situation, let's say a more interesting or more different or more customer-based business wanted to go there, more likely than not, we wouldn't be able to allow that because we wouldn't have enough parking to accommodate for those types of uses. And so there's 137 parking spaces going to be provided on this development. You better believe any type of business that wants to go there in the future will be able to operate.
All right.
Good deal.
Short-term rentals. This has obviously been a really important conversation and a priority of mine over the last couple of months. With council direction, staff was allowed to pursue third-party short-term rental management options. So there were 3 companies that were specifically kind of considered very seriously. One was Deckard Technologies, one was Local Gov, and the other was Granicus. Of all the 3, Deckard was determined to be the preferred service, and there were multiple reasons as to why they were considered the preferred service. The one thing is that they were essential provider, so a lot of these other companies, you actually had to enter into a contract with them and enter into a contract with another company that would utilize like the identification process. So when it comes to short-term rentals and what we're looking for, we want to identify them. We want to then have a place where they can register very easily, and then we want a system that collects this hot tax for us to make sure that we are receiving the utmost and the most appropriate amounts of hotel occupancy tax on a monthly basis. Otherwise, we are having to do personal research every month to try to determine if the numbers that they're submitting us are accurate. Only ways you're able to do that is by tracking how many bookings they have per month at each rental unit that they offer. Obviously, it takes a lot of work. Having a system that can track that just simply by data mining is the way to go. And so of all of the options, they were a central provider, meaning that they are the ones who operate the identification system. A lot of these other companies use their identification system, and then they will offer additional kind of modules. And so that was the first thing. Single contract as well, obviously. Their systems were very innovative. In all the sit-downs that I had, theirs seemed like the most user-friendly. They also provided a quick implementation timeline, which is obviously very important, and they offer alternative services that I'll get into on the next slide. But ultimately, like I mentioned, what we're aiming for this service is identification as well as an outreach campaign, so they will assist us in reaching out to all of these operators in the community. They'll also offer a registration portal and a tax payment portal. So really, the staff's biggest involvement will be going in there monthly and running reports and making sure that we've got accurate representation, we're getting paid out accurately, and that we've got all of the necessary short-term rentals registered.
We just got back from Santa Fe, and when we were staying there, inside of the home, there were 2 displayed plaques, whatever, short-term rental permit. They probably require that, and it makes sense. And also the City of Santa Fe Treasury Department verifies that they're actually paying back to the city. So I'll share those with you.
Please
so
do.
Maybe something you want to add
Absolutely.
to
I do know that
process.
please share that. I do know our policy will require that they do put the permit that we provide them up at the front, in the area in a discreet, around the front door in a discrete area. As for some of the additional stuff, I'd be happy to look into that. I know one of my later slides, I'm going to talk about some of the minor amendments I'd like to make to the short-term rental policy as we're starting to get this rolling. And so if there are any suggestions or insights that you'd like to add, please send them my way, and I'll definitely consider those as potential amendments.
Good deal.
But other than that, the contract is currently being reviewed by the city attorney, and once executed, we are looking at a 2 to 3 month implementation timeline. So I mean, at the latest, we're talking early May. They've made it very clear, it's completely contingent upon how involved the city is, how responsive the city is throughout this process, of how quick it can go. So I can tell you that I would bet on it being quicker, or at least earlier in the process than later in the process of the window that they're providing. I'm aiming for end of April, not anytime in May. So that's going to be the goal. Obviously, that gives us some cushion as well prior to the World Cup. That leads into long-term rentals. Obviously, throughout this process, there's been a lot of conversations about long-term rentals, what are our goals in trying to manage and monitor them. You know, we've been focusing on short-term rentals, what about the LTRs? That's obviously that's a really important conversation and question, because according to recent data that we've been given, long-term rentals make up roughly 35% of Richland Hills housing market. I'm sure many of you would argue that it's probably more, and I'm sure if we asked some of our residents, they would argue that it's probably more as well. But even if we're going to be conservative about that, and let's just say it's 35% and the data is accurate, we've got roughly 3,500 total residential units in the community. 35% of that is over 1,200. So we could have 1,200 plus long-term rentals scattered throughout the community. That can be a challenge, obviously, for staff in its current situation to be able to locate and monitor all 1,200 of those. I will say, per our records right now, we've got, you know, roughly 430 COs in a list that we're keeping, most of them from historical COs over the last 10 years that we've actually issued these rental units certificate of occupancies, and others are kind of ones that we've just been kind of marking and identifying either through code compliance interactions or utility billing interactions. Those are realistically the only two methods that we have right now in order to determine if we have a long-term rental in our community. The only other option would be, again, very much like short-term rentals, utilizing staff time to search the web and these different, you know, websites that offer residential rental options and trying to locate all of the ones in the community. That's obviously not really, you know, beneficial too if majority of them are already being rented. You're typically only going to see the ones that are available. And so, you know, only being able to determine if it's a long-term rental is if somebody comes in and they want to change the name on their water bill, or if community compliance has an interaction with them and we recognize that, you know, hey, you're not the owner, you need to talk to the city. We're going to be doing this for 10 years until we're caught up to speed on this. And so I started trying to reach out and see if there are any services very much like the short-term rental service that could potentially help us. There wasn't really much success in those conversations until I had a conversation with Decker Technologies, the same company that's going to be helping us with the short-term rentals, where I found out that they offer, as well as short-term rental management, long-term rental management. So that was also a huge consideration when, you know, trying to make a decision on one of those companies. I will say that their long-term rental module that they have is currently being updated. And so they've had it for years, but they've kind of put it back in the workshop right now. They're trying to upgrade it and make it even better. I mean, they do seem like they're kind of at the tip of the spear when it comes to these types of data mining services that they provide. And so I think they said by the end of this quarter, they'll have it up and running again, and we can have a conversation about how we would like to implement that into our current kind of contract and get that ball rolling as well. I will say that there are some things that we'll need to take into consideration when we start having those conversations with Deckard about how we would like to start monitoring long-term rentals as well. And those big things will obviously be return on investment. They made it sound as if the operators or the owners of those rental units will be the ones who will have to pay essentially a charge per unit, not really a city charge. I'm not 100% convinced on that. There's always almost an integration fee or a fee that we will have to pay. But from our conversations, I don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet. But we need to make sure that there's obviously going to be a return on investment before we enter into an additional contract with them regarding long-term rentals. And we need to take into consideration the staff impact, which is, you know, we need to make sure that we're going to be able to absorb anywhere from 300 to 1,000 additional inspections a year, because that is what we're looking at. In a perfect world, if we have all 1,200 registered, that means that more often than not, if we follow the ordinance to a T, on an annual basis, we should be inspecting those units. Even, some would argue that it's only when they change tenant. The way that I read it is every year. So that's something that we'll have to keep in mind.
I was just going to ask you that. What's the process? So, you know, you've got a rental property in the city, and it's for rent, and I want to rent that for, you know, I don't know, whatever the contract is, year, 2 years, 3, whatever it may be. Shouldn't there be, or I'd like to see there be an inspection that takes place every time that property changes renters. no matter what the length of time is. Are we doing that?
So according to the ordinance, there is a requirement that they should be getting a certificate of occupancy every time there's a change of renter, and every time there's a change of renter or a certificate of occupancy, or annually, depending on how you read it, there should be an inspection by the city. Now, are we doing that? The answer is no. And I think that there's been a delay over the past couple of years or upkeep in managing the long-term rentals throughout the community. And so that's kind of been a conversation that we've been having. What are the ways that we can best approach this? Because this will be quite the undertaking. I mean, like I said, we've got roughly 430 that we currently have record of. Now, of those 430, are all of them probably up to date? Absolutely not. But some of them are. I can tell you that we are doing a few of them a week, but those are just a few a week. I mean, there are hundreds out there that we still need to get to.
Well,
The issue is identifying them.
Okay, will Deckard provide the inspection, or?
No, we will still handle the inspection. Yes.
So at the end of the day, why wouldn't we, every time it changes a renter, if it's twice a year, 3 times a year, whatever it may be, why would we not want to charge an inspection fee every time?
There would be a fee associated with that process.
Every time?
Every time.
Okay.
This is a resource problem, right?
Yes.
It's just
Well, yeah.
physically the people
Yeah.
available to do the inspection.
Well, we need to find a way to do
Yeah.
it.
And
Let's
normally,
outsource it, let's outsource it.
That's the goal.
see, normally it's a change in, a water bill, right?
What?
Normally it's a change of water bill. When a renter leaves, they will turn their account off.
Yeah,
and
that
then
triggers it.
That triggers it mostly,
Should.
right? And Bureau Veritas is the one who does the inspections. They come out and do inspections. For that, we charge a fee of like, what, $100?
$60.
Oh, okay, I thought it was $100 that we
Yeah,
charge for.
I think they increased their fees. I think it's $70 or $75 per inspection that they do. We charge $100, so I mean, there's like a $25, revenue
Oh, okay,
associated
okay,
with
yeah,
each one of them, yeah.
We've talked about it. BV, they could do the inspections for us. Because we
BV,
don't
yeah.
have the resources to do it, so we
But-
can pay them.
Yeah.
to make it a pass-through rate.
Yeah, normally they do that, right?
Right.
Bureau Veritas is the one who does
Yeah,
that.
but it sounds like they're not doing it, so.
Well,
If we
haven't been
initiate them, they will do it.
Okay.
Yes.
therein is the trick.
We have to initiate.
We have to initiate it, and actually, personally, I think it would be, we'd do the city a service and the renters too, if we went out once a year and, just keep tabs on the properties.
Yeah, and I think that is the ultimate goal. I think we first need to get to a place where we're pretty confident that we have, a record of the majority of them. And we're nowhere near that. We really need to start getting the identification and utilizing a system like that will do a mass, notification to every owner associated with long-term rental in the community. That would be something that would, take us months to try to get something like that in place. And we would have to be focusing on that solely. Utilizing those services, I mean, they're able to do it just from the services that they're using. That's strictly what they do. And so it'll be a huge benefit to be able to utilize one of these companies that can notify every single one of them within a week's time. And then the struggle will be getting them in here and making sure that they are registering, otherwise facing some sort of violation and letter of violation following that.
All right, so
I like that.
is this comes into the PD and compliance? What's your read?
On staff being able to do that, we would have to outsource that. I mean,
So
we
it
don't
would-
have existing staff that can do that.
I'm getting I've just got this gut feeling that we need to look at our fee tables.
Yeah, so that's something we've discussed, and we will look at it, obviously, once we are able to learn more about exactly
What we're into.
what we're looking at price-wise versus what we're going to be charging. Because I agree with you, I think BV will be who we will utilize. Even today, we can and do use BV for the few COs that we are processing for residential areas. And the conversations that I've had with BV, they've made it seem as if they can take on probably 300 to 1,000 more on an annual basis. It will really just come down to scheduling. Obviously, trying to do this at the start of January every year won't work. We'll have to make sure that we've got everything kind of happening, which I think with a rental unit is it's happening organically, essentially. We can't just say it's January, time for an inspection. They said, well, we've been here for maybe only half a year or 6 months. or we've been here for 3 years and our CO is still active. So it'll work out organically, but it sounds as if that BV claims that they will be able to take on that additional work.
So just want to make sure I understand. If we have a renter and he's registered in the city, excuse me, a landlord, whatever you want to call it. And every time I have a new renter in there, I've got to call for an inspection, and whether it's 2 or 3 times a year, not just once a year, it's every time that property changes, whether they, come in and change the name on the water bill, whatever it is, it's flagged, and that causes an inspection.
That is correct. And what initiates that inspection is we require you to get a certificate of occupancy for that new tenant.
Right.
And then we will issue you that certificate of occupancy. And then we won't even issue it until the inspection is handled.
Yeah.
And the property is in compliance with, just general wellness, safety, building standards.
And the reason I'm asking that is because I think in the long haul, that's a big help to mitigate abatements.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'd like to really make sure that if we can outsource that to make sure that it's being followed up on and done, I think we'd be a lot better off in many areas.
JP and I had discussion on that.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think you're absolutely right. I think that'll be a huge factor in improving kind of, substandard structures and
Correct.
just general beautification in some of our neighborhoods.
That's right.
I think the issue that we've had is that we are now starting in a place to try to, bring some of these rental locations into compliance, and they've been operating for years out of compliance. And so we're kind of retroactively trying to fix
Okay.
our current situation.
All right, great,
Yeah.
good. Thanks for the clarification.
Moving on, so the Council of Governments EV grant, I know I mentioned this at our last council meeting when I provided a department report. Ultimately, the COG was offering approximately $12 million in grant funding for EV charging stations in the 16-county region. The purpose of this grant was essentially to include 100 new EV charging ports across the region, specifically trying to fill in gaps that our current infrastructure is missing. And in October, Richland Hills submitted a formal project application requesting funds for new EV spaces within the Link parking lot. This application proposed 2 L2 chargers, or L2 charging stations with 4 EV parking spaces or stalls. And of January 22nd, I'm happy to announce that Richland Hills was officially recommended and approved for funding. The kickoff meeting will be on March 3rd. So it was actually supposed to be last week. They delayed it until March. So once I have that meeting, I'll be able to provide another update of exactly what we're looking at from a timelines perspective.
That's awesome.
And the grant funding is, I believe, 70% of all the fees associated with this project. So
So we'll be looking at 30%.
30%, that's correct.
Part of being on the RTC, I got to vote for that for us too.
Nice.
Not everybody got it either.
No.
A lot of cities didn't get it that applied.
Yeah, no, there was a limit. I think there was a certain amount that they were willing to give, and there were people that were cut out. Yep.
I like that. It gives us just a good marketing advantage compared to our neighbors, so, yeah.
Thank you, JP.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
So the charging stations, is that, is it like Charge America, or is it like Tesla, or what?
company?
Yeah, what is going to be the company?
We'll learn more. I mean, we're going to be coordinating with Kimley Horn. I think they're going to be kind of like our engineer representative throughout this process. And so I don't know exactly what the company is going to be. I think that the quotes that they put together were really kind of just general. I'm sure there's going to be some very specific companies that they're going to be working with for all of these chargers. I just don't know who they are yet.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
What's the revenue stream?
and it's saying 2 L2s, so it really.
Right.
It's
So
not-
level
it's-
2 chargers
it's
we are
not-
using, but
not terribly
depending on
significant.
which one,
Yeah,
which.
I get you. I'm with you.
So
More
they're
questions?
not free to the user, are they?
I believe they are free.
They are free? So
Yeah.
you can go park your car there and fuel up every time free?
I
I
wouldn't
mean,
put one.
I'm not too sure about that, because a lot of these L2 chargers, you can put your credit card there, or in case of a Tesla, it'll charge the owner of the car based on
Based
when
on
you're.
being plugged in.
Yeah, because your
I
credit
don't-
card is on file.
I
I'll
don't
check,
think
I'll
it's
follow
free.
up
Yeah,
tomorrow
I'd be
morning. I'll
curious.
send an email.
Candace seemed to think that it was free.
I don't think it's free.
I-
I can't imagine it being free.
Well,
Right, if it's free, then,
I've
no, that's gonna
experienced-
be,
Park there.
that's, yeah, that's gonna be a little problem.
Well,
Yeah,
Well, the link will have a lot of traffic.
If it's free, that means we're paying.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go, that's right.
I will check.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
I know Chief Rhodes already touched on this, provided a lot of helpful information, but I just wanted to kind of reiterate, I know Leslie and Norma has been a massive priority of council over the last, seems like year and a half or maybe longer, at least that's when it's been on my radar. I will say, for roughly a year, I've been trying to contact these owners and trying to get some level of clearance or approval to make these things happen. And it wasn't until December of last year that I finally received verbal approval from one of the owners. And so that's Leslie, and that's the one that we've been making a lot of progress on, receiving quotes. Chief Rhodes has obviously got, preliminary plans for the fencing as well. I spoke with the owner again today, and he, again, tentatively provided me verbal approval. And so I asked him to provide something in writing, and I'm still waiting for that. But, we're still making progress nonetheless. I think his worry has been that we were going to impact his operation to some extent. I have reiterated time and time again that that's not the case and what the purpose of this use is for. So I think we're in a good spot, and I'm hoping within the next, 2 months or so, we can maybe start making constructing and removing that fence and start making some changes over there. Now, as for Norma, that one is going to be a little bit different. I have made contact with at least the representatives of that property, which is EOS Fitness. It looks like the ownership is a larger corporation that's a little bit more difficult to get a hold of, but I have touched base with the EOS's representatives. They've pretty much said, like, hey, we're going to run up the chain and we'll get back to you. I'm still waiting for that direction from them. But even, let's say, we do get that permission and we're able to move forward on that one as well, there are obviously things that we do need to take into consideration, things that obviously Chief Rhodes has already mentioned. One being that that's a masonry fence. You can see, if you look at the image on the bottom of your screen here, that access point is Leslie. And so that's an existing kind of beat down wooden fence. That's easy to remove and update with whatever we want to see in the future. But if you look directly to the left of that, that's a masonry fence, and that's the fence that we would have to deal with along Norma. I'm sure you're all very familiar, masonry fencing can be very expensive. And so the idea of removing a portion of that, maybe 30 feet or more, we need to make sure that we're not going to be affecting or adversely impacting the structural integrity of that fence, or that screening wall, because then that may warrant more removal and more additional screening that we need to pay for. And so that's going to be a huge considering factor as we move forward, making sure that we're going to be able to essentially remove a 30-foot chunk of that wall without any issues. And then two, there's quite a bit of uneven grading at that connection point as well, specifically on the side of Normal Lane. And so we'll be kind of including our engineering team as well as getting some quotes from whoever's going to be able to pave that for us and pour some additional concrete and see if that's going to, kind of run the bill up a little bit more and what efforts that'll take in order to make that happen. Just from a general perspective, Normal Lane will be a little bit more challenging than Leslie. And so I'm just trying to make that very apparent right now. The TRE site, we do have an update to share on that. So on November of last year, some members of staff and the mayor actually met with the Trinity Metro president and CFO. At the meeting, it was very clear that both the city and Trinity Metro were very interested in trying to get this property sold as quickly as possible. They did pretty much say that there were some things that they needed to, make happen before they can start focusing on this property. But ultimately, we both agreed, Trinity Metro agreed, that they would coordinate with Richland Hills in order to kind of effectively promote the property and attract desirable users. Obviously, we've got pretty tight control over the property with its current zoning, so we made it very clear to them, hey, you might as well just include us in all of your efforts to make sure that whoever it is that's interested in this property, we can kind of assist in those conversations as well, because obviously the zoning element will be something that they will need to be made aware of early on. Because if it's something that's not expressly permitted in our zoning ordinance, they're going to have to be brought in front of you, or we need to consider rezoning the property. Nevertheless, obviously that's a massive element associated with developing that site, and whoever's interested in it needs to be involved with us immediately. So they agreed to obviously include us in all of their efforts moving forward. And I was notified last week the property was being reappraised, so I reached out to them and just said, hey, looking for a little bit of a status update, what's going on, heard the property is being reappraised. They essentially said, yep, we're reappraising it. Our new individual who's going to be focusing on this project isn't starting until April, but we are trying to make some early steps towards selling it, now, getting some of their ducks in a row, essentially. But once that final appraisal's in, we'll send you that report and we'll set up another meeting to kind of discuss next steps. So I believe that report will be done sometime this week or next week. Once I receive it, I'm going to review it, and we're going to schedule a meeting to kind of discuss what their appraisal shows and what their plans are moving forward. And my goal moving, from this point on is to continue to keep nudging them in the direction of getting this property on the market and advertised as aggressively as possible. BBA, the last 3 cases that the Building Board of Appeals have seen, I just want to provide a quick status update. Dover Lane, plans were submitted, obviously, at the last BBA meeting, which was in January. We have gone back and forth a little bit, just trying to make sure we can finalize those plans and that they're in compliance with our zoning ordinance, because there are other things that we need to consider, like how many accessory structures they have out there, setbacks for various things. And so we've been tinkering back and forth with those plans, but we do have them and we are coordinating with them. And then we're also working with the contractor to finalize his insurance and ensure plans that are in compliance with our standards as well, like I just mentioned with zoning. So we're sitting on them and working with the contractor until we can get all of his, all the things that we need from him checked off. And so that's kind of where we're at with Dover. As for Cecil, in December of last year, the permit package was approved. The site immediately afterwards was cleaned up, and they've been doing quite a bit of MEP work and rebuild efforts ever since then. So progress on that property has been underway for a couple months now. And then lastly, 3624 Ruth Road. Actually, today, we received a permit package from them. We don't know if it's complete yet. We're going to review it in the next couple of days to make sure it's complete and then submit it for review by BV. But ultimately, those were all internal issues that they had that they needed to bring into compliance, and so we finally received a full permit package from them as well. So of all 3 cases, we're making progress on them all. The big one is just still trying to get Dover submitted to plan review. We're sitting on it. We're trying to get their contractor, providing us the appropriate materials so there are no issues in the future with the contractor.
Now, are y'all reaching out to Dover, or are they contacting you each time?
I will say staff usually has to reach out to them.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And then Glenview, just wanted to provide a quick update that Kimberly Horn has been continuing to make progress on the design work. I mean, there's no substantial update other than they are making progress on just general design work that that they've been working on for quite some time now. And then other than that, we are waiting to receive an amended contract that is supposed to include some minor work that is going to be kind of requested by North Richland Hills. The work is really minor, but it is going to require that our contract be updated to make sure that we are accurately paying for our side of the work, and they will be actively paying for their side of the work. It was discussed very early on, I believe, by Kimberly Horn, by North Richland Hills, and by Candace and a few other members of our team a few months ago that it just made the most sense to do this under one contract so there's no future conflicts between separate contracts between both cities. So we're still waiting for that to be submitted. Once we get that, we'll obviously coordinate with North Richland Hills and we'll have the city attorney review it. And my last slide is just upcoming projects of priority. Some things that, hopefully over the next couple of months you will see brought in front of you. The first being policy amendments. The building improvement grant, I'd like to enhance that current language, try to increase the amount of money that we can offer from a granting perspective, as well as expand the different types of work that we can cover as a part of a grant. There are things like grease traps that are really, really expensive and important part of anybody operating a restaurant in the community. And I have conversations all the time with individuals who are struggling to pursue those endeavors because of grease traps. And our grant doesn't necessarily include that, so that's just one thing off the top of my head that I'd like to include, on top of potentially a handful of other things that I think could benefit the general beautification of some of our buildings, maybe in other facets as well than what our policy current provides. I'd also like to amend the short-term rental policy. I know I mentioned that previously. Those changes are still pretty minor, but if you do have any suggestions of things that you would like to be included in that amendment policy, please let me know. If I'm unable to get it on the second February council meeting, it probably will be on the first meeting of March. So that's one thing to look forward to. Then obviously, one of the bigger efforts that we're gonna have to see start taking place at some point this year will be ordinance updates, specifically the zoning ordinance, the subdivision ordinance, and some of our supplementary regulations, specifically our sign code, landscaping ordinance, fencing, and screening ordinance. This will warrant, third-party assistance. We have budgeted for that. But the zoning ordinance, coming off the back of the comprehensive plan, now is the time this year to start trying to make sure that our zoning ordinance is reflective of that comprehensive plan. And so that's a huge, effort, as I mentioned previously, and so bringing somebody in to assist with that will likely be the route we'll go. It will be interesting to see if whoever we bring in will be able to help with the subdivision ordinance as well. I think that will really just come down to budgeting. If they're able to do both for a relatively decent price, that'll be the goal. If not, I'll have to coordinate with our third-party engineer to update the subdivision ordinance, because that is kind of the engineered section of our ordinance. And then lastly, the sign code, landscaping ordinance, fencing and screening ordinance. Those are all areas that I'm very confident that I can update solely. It's just going to take me time, as it's a part of, the other responsibilities that I'm taking care of on a regular basis. So that one, I'll try to hopefully have all three maybe in front of you before the end of the year, but that is just going to be something that I'm going to be gradually working on. I have been gradually working on, but I'm still in the very, very early stages of that. And then lastly, I know, again, Chief Rhodes mentioned it previously, but hopefully in the next couple of months, we will be able to bring an update to our IBC in front of you as well. We're still operating out of 2018, and we are in dire need for an update. So we are eyeing the 2021 IBC. I'll be working with BV and, like I said, Fire as well to hopefully let that take place over the next couple of months.
JP, why not go it all the way to 2024?
So that was kind of the suggested move from our third-party reviewer, who kind of is utilizing the IBC at all times. They essentially stated that the 2024 is still kind of being worked out, and it's not the more common one that's being utilized universally, and so that was their suggestion.
So on the grease traps, and because I just focused in on that one, is that going to only be offered to brick and mortar businesses, or are you going to offer it to other businesses? Like, I don't know, food trucks have to have a grease trap too.
So our current policy is very clear in that I believe you do have to be a brick and mortar business in the community.
Okay.
Now, if that's something that you would like to consider expanding, that's definitely something that I can look into. Because again, talking about bringing that policy forward with some changes, if that's something you would like to include in that, please let me know, and I'll be happy to consider.
But food truck is more contained,
Yeah, but I think they still have grease traps. I'm not real for sure. I just wanted to make sure.
Well, the purpose of this is for something that stays in Richland Hills, to where, if a food truck does this, they can go anywhere, and that's good for them. They should go anywhere, but, it's for, a grease trap possibly for a restaurant that can come in here and stay in here and bring people into Richland Hills.
Yeah, I was more thinking along the lines of the marketplace that has the food trucks there.
Right, but
We'll help offering them.
we actually have a couple food trucks that do provide a fair amount of revenue, so it might be something to look at, but I agree with the general consensus. Our restaurant, our residents like the brick and mortar restaurants. We should try to focus that way. JP, a question on the Glenview and that 16-inch water main is, I heard something with Public Works that we might want to get a tie-in to that to beef up our water system. Has there been any discussion between?
If there have been, I haven't been a part of them. I'll see if Kelly is aware of that or has anything to share.
Yeah, there's been talks in the past if there is potential growth requiring us to meet a higher demand of water usage. We could talk with North Hills and see about basically a metering station where we tie onto their 16-inch main. Obviously, it's very we haven't talked too much. It's more light conversation on that.
Okay, so the question really becomes, is this the time to look at that? Because it wouldn't be fun to redo Glenview in 5 years.
Correct. I don't foresee us needing that with the,
Okay.
unless we have apartments come through like what Haltom City just built, then I think we'll be just fine.
That ain't happening.
On our demand.
Yeah.
That ain't happening.
So JP, I have one more thing to add to your little list. Can you please see what's going on with that monument on Hanley? It is, I mean, I think somebody's just destroying it piece by piece. Because all our other ones aren't in that bad of shape, but that one on Hanley by the train track.
Sure.
Yeah. it's
I'll
not-
take a look. I'll see what I can
I don't
find.
even think you can even see our name on it.
Okay.
We're done.
Thanks, JP.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
JP.
Thank you very much.
All right, now, Councilman Eastep, community interest items.
Community interest items for February 2026. Richland Hills Literary Club meets at the library the second Tuesday of each month at 6:30 PM. Stop by the library to pick up this month's title and join in the conversation, in the discussion. Taxes can be rough. Spend some time with Ladybug at the Therapy Dog every Wednesday afternoon now through April 15th. Get ahead of the tax game with free tax prep at the library by appointment only now through April 15th. Call the library to book yours now. Don't forget, this Saturday is Valentine's Day. I threw that in myself. April 18th, Co-op Barn and Garden Tour. This unique parade of combs is back for a second year. Sign up now on the city website to show off your hens, coops, barns, and livestock. And that's all.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to close this thing.
No motion needed. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Jeez, man. Here.
And you couldn't just read that. You had to add more stuff.
I know.